just telling a couple people I'm turning my stuff off for a bit.
Well, what's going on? You're listening to the You Want It, You Got It podcast. I am Russ Attitude, and today across from me, I am sitting with Mr. Cody Parson.
Howdy, boss man.
How are you doing today?
I'm all right. I'm coming off a long work day. It's been a long week, but I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Yeah. So let's just get into it, man. 'Cause I know we got a lot we can talk about, but we're just gonna start with where are you originally from?
The beginning. Man, I was born and raised right here in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah. Really?
Yes, sir. I'm fourth generation Clarksvillian.
Wow.
As I often like to joke.
Okay.
My great grandparents originally came from out in Palmyra and moved right within the city limits here.
Okay.
And from my mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, my dad came to Clarksville via military as well, so he was an Army brat.
Okay,
so
all right.
All my dad's family's from Georgia.
Okay.
But my mom's family's from here, fourth generation. I was born in '91, and my first real introduction, like implanted to the music scene. This is funny. I'm gonna fuck you up with this one.
All right, let's go.
Back in like '99. Lisa and David Lane had a house party.
Okay.
And
so you were 8 years old.
I was like 8 years old.
All right.
And I seen Reflex play with Chris Gerald's.
Wow.
And who else was in it? Adam.
What's the singer's name?
I don't remember everybody's name.
Yeah.
The brothers. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first real introduction ever to like the Clarksville scene.
Okay.
I was 8. I was like, hype on it. We were like little kids that probably shouldn't have been there, and we were told to stay upstairs.
Oh yeah, as you listened.
One upstairs, yeah. And me and Sean, David and Lisa's son, snuck out, and like we were watching from the balcony as this fucking wild, raging house party was happening with all these people. And I was like, damn. So that was probably the first time it kind of like glinted in my head. So I don't know. Sometimes I'd always kind of romanticized about music and stuff, so that was but that was my first real introduction to the scene.
All right.
8 years old.
Wow.
And then a few years later, probably at like 12 or 13, I was in middle school, and I went to a house show, and I seen one of Dusty Mayhan's original bands.
Which
My
one?
Last Embrace.
Wow.
The metalcore bands. It was like 2006.
Yeah. I have a My Last Embrace button in my button bag.
Nice.
I do have a few things, not a whole lot from back in the day. So that was, you said 12, 13 years old?
Yes, sir.
When did you get your first instrument?
Not too far from that.
Yeah.
Right around that Christmas or so. I lived with my grandma. I was raised by my grandma from the time I was 9 on.
Mm-hmm.
And her like lady best friend, her husband and I started bonding a lot.
All right.
And he was this old hippie dude that played guitar and like fucking had a wall of records, like walking into their living room, like just had tons of stuff, and like was just like an old head. He smoked weed and everything, and was like. And this time, like I was in a real weird place, coming out of like both my parents were on drugs real bad, and I more or less like I said, started being raised by my grandma, and her and I were real detached from one another. She couldn't bond with me real hard, but me and this old guy did.
Okay.
And he was the first one to like break out and be like, all right, here's the first 4 Black Sabbath albums, and here's like the Led Zeppelin discography.
Okay.
Here's like Foghat, and here's like all the Allman Brothers records. And like, if you want to listen to live rock and roll, you listen to this. And like, I heard like Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous and stuff. Like, he kind of, and it was a weird thing for me coming as a preteen too, because at this time in middle school, this is like right in the heyday of the emo era. So everyone my age is really just talking about like My Chem, or, like Good Charlotte, or Simple Plan, or any of those bands back from like the early days of emo. And I was really, really deep into like classic rock. So I became like, as I've always referred to it as, even to this day as I've gotten older, I became a long-haired kid.
Okay.
And that was, like 11 years old, I decided I wasn't going to cut my hair anymore. And it's kind of been that way ever since.
So before that, though, what were you into? Radio?
Well, that's the odd thing, too. My parents were very much children of, like, the 80s coming into the 90s. My dad's favorite band was Pearl Jam. They seen Pearl Jam, like, 7 times when I was a kid.
Okay.
So, like, they were my dad and mom were both pretty hard heads into it.
And where were they originally from? Or your dad? Where was he originally from?
My dad was from Hartwell, Georgia.
Okay.
It's like,
you said that.
South
Yeah.
Carolina
Okay,
line,
yeah, okay.
My mom's from here, though. And they met high school, whatever. But she was really, really into Kiss. He was really into a lot of grunge, just like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, all those acts. Really, that was like that was my childhood. Like very early on, that's what I remember hearing a lot of. Like I got obsessed with the End of the World as We Know It by
REM.
Yeah, dude, I love that song.
Funny thing is, REM was playing before you came in.
Dude, banger song. She's back. Yeah, dude, banger. That was like.
Have you ever tried to sing that song?
Man, when I was a kid, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was like my favorite song. I was hype on it. Then The Devil Went Down to Georgia became my other favorite song. Because my grandma was like blaring Charlie Daniels like all the time. So
you've like, you've grown up you still have an eclectic taste in music,
I really try to, man. Like, I think that's like the key. And a lot of recent things in my life have really even basically, how do I say, reaffirmed that really hard. Up until this year, I can't say I wasn't into it because I've always been kind of eclectic, a little bit into everything, but I'd never really found like a lot of joy in EDM, electronic dance music. In the past like month and a half, you've
been all about it.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah,
that has completely changed. But that's a story, and that's a story for a little while. That's
yeah.
For in a minute.
So you get your first guitar and whatnot. And,
that's when I was that age. That old guy. So I brought him up. He got me a Squire Bullet for Christmas, which was $100, wasn't much. But he was like, "I'm gonna get you something that'll stay in tune. So if it'll stay in tune, that'll decide whether or not you like." Because a lot of times, if you get a kid an instrument that's not like worth a damn in some way, they're not gonna say apt to it anyway because the instrument's never gonna be right.
Where do you still have it?
I gifted it to a friend.
Okay, so it's still around.
He still has it.
Okay, well that's good.
He and I talked about it recently. He was like, "Man, I still got that guitar." I was like, "Damn, I got to get that from you."
Yeah, I mean, I know some people who started playing guitar and they've never got rid of any guitars. They keep from day one. I mean,
everything. Some people do it. Some people, it's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Ian's got a lot, man. Yeah. I don't think Ian has his very first one, but man, he's got damn near.
Okay, when did you guys connect up?
Okay, a little bit after the same time that my grandma started raising me.
Okay.
My dad and mom split when I was 6.
Okay.
And my mom left me with my grandma's custody at 9. And then probably when I was like 10, my dad started dating Ian's mom.
Okay.
Both of them were like drugged out degenerates. They were both strung out pretty bad and like both meth heads at the time. And they found love through that, if you ever want to believe that kind of thing's possible. They found each other, they bonded, they got together, and Dad knocked Dee Dee up. And it was more of them staying together, I think, a necessity out of that happening than it was ever like the relationship, because probably a year or two after me and Ian's little brother was born, they split. And
how long? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, honestly, probably Ian and I were around each other for that period for around 2.5 years, probably 2 or 3 years, and I was always just like a year older than Ian. So
really,
yeah, we were just together. We were the same. We're into all the same stuff. Harry Potter was coming out that time in our lives. Wow. Like we were both going into middle school and like the emo era. And Ian's dad was a cool musician guy, and my whole life, like from the moment I met Ian, he was playing drums, and he was like playing the shit out of drums.
So he was playing drums first.
Yeah. He was playing. That was his first thing, and he was very good at it. And it was kind of intimidating to be like a kid and like meet another kid that's just like fucking really good at instruments. Yeah. And then like the moment that I got a guitar, he got a guitar. My mom got me a really shitty like First Act Walmart guitar first, but it didn't like work at all.
I like how we always say we all refer to that First Act as is that a Walmart brand?
Yeah, I guess so.
People bought it. Everybody always says First Act Walmart because they made the drum sets and stuff. But
yep, same thing. Same thing. But I got that instrument, and the old cat was like, "Well, man, if you really want to play guitar," he's like, "I'll buy you a damn guitar, and I'll buy you one that at least stay in tune." And I fell down the rabbit hole at like 13. But the thing was about this, I was like 14 probably. I was a freshman in high school. Ian's mom and my dad had split up. So Ian was in Christian County, and I was down here in Clarksville still. And our families weren't integrating or crossing a lot, even though we shared a little brother. She kind of stayed estranged, and we didn't see each other.
Gotcha.
By the time that we were leaving, I had got a guitar, but like I wasn't playing it. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Ian was like learning guitar when I was like we stopped seeing each other. He was already down the rabbit hole, starting to pick up guitar, and he like the first 2 days he had a guitar, he was like reading tablature and like already trying to. He was diving. You know, we were like 10 or 11 years old, and Ian's always naturally been very, very, very talented in that regard. But that wasn't kind of my bag early. I was really infatuated with. We used to make like music videos when we were kids because Ian had like a little camcorder, and we would like make goofy like when we were like 10 and 11 years old. So it's funny that we wound up because we were always talking about being in a band.
Yeah.
It was like, and dude, we also say this. We were children of the School of Rock era. School of Rock dropped when we were like 12 years old.
Really?
And it fucking changed everybody's world. To this day, I think all of the Guitar Hero movement all happened because of School of Rock.
Was that like 2005?
It's like 2002, 2003. Okay. It's like right there early. But me and Ian went to the theater together, and like we seen all these kids playing in a fucking band, dude. We were like, we could be in a band! Yeah. It was everything we needed to know, you know? And when we parted ways, once our parents got over there, his mom straightened up, my dad never did. They parted ways. I didn't see Ian anymore. Ian went on his way up in Christian County. I stayed down here.
All right.
Steve's the guy, voodoo guy's name. Steve buys me a Squire Bullet. I start learning like really basic. I get all my chord shapes down. I'm learning like bar shapes and stuff. And then I watched this thing probably as a freshman in high school about Jack White.
Okay.
Like how all the Jack White stuff's like super easy power chords, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize this. And I went down the rabbit hole of like loving the White Stripes. Because till that point, I mean, I like some of the emo stuff just because like it was hard not to be a part of that era and not be caught up in it. But I'd really, you know, stuck to the guns of being like, no, bro, if it's not Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Allman Brothers, it's fucking wrong, bro. I don't care. If it's not Cream, kiss my ass. I didn't care. But honestly, the first modern band that really caught me was like the White Stripes.
All right.
And I got
That's pretty cool.
I got sucked in. And in 2006, this is probably my freshman or sophomore year of high school,
all right,
Jack White dropped the Rack and Chairs album. And I was like, this is exactly the music I want to make. This is exactly what I want to do. And then slowly through high school, I just played a little bit more. I didn't really go into bands much. I seen My Last Embrace in middle school, so I knew the scene was there. And then I seen people like...
now, where was that at?
The My Last Embrace show?
Yeah.
It was at a house show. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even like... some kids kicked down a fan. I remember that. That's like, I was 13 or something. But
wait, was this off of Needmore?
I think it might have been. Yeah, this was back in the day. I was like middle school. I'm trying to think. Okay, if you remember, I know it's been a minute. Dude, it was like 20 years ago.
Think about, because I remember some things, and there was a house show that I don't think I was there because I think somebody that I knew played, but the living room was cleared out and the drum sets was set in front of a fireplace, and somebody jumped off the raft of the cause there were stairs that took you to the second level, and somebody jumped off there, and the mom got mad and kicked everybody out for a second.
Oh man, no, that wasn't at this show. Right. That wasn't at this show. Thank God. But things got wild back then. And I also, on top of that exposure, my best friend in middle school, his older sister was in high school while we were in middle school, and his older sister was also in the Assault friend group. So Dusty, Dave Weidman, all those dudes, that was like their friend circle. So we were like, 7th, 8th grade little like punks, and Meredith would go out to like with her friends, and her parents were like, take Spencer and Cody. So like we wound up meeting those guys, and they were like the dudes to me,
Yeah, yeah.
And then as we're coming up, they formed Thunderama when I was in high school, and I was like, Thunderama. We were like, right. And Spencer's cousin Dustin was also a guitar player in Oath.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we had a lot of exposure and multiple sides to like the scene.
Yeah.
And then I started learning guitar. So it was all just destined. It was like predestined.
Yeah.
I met my first real guy. I played with my cousin. The first show I ever played, I guess I'll reel it back. I was 16.
All right.
It was a house show over by Montgomery Central on 7 Mile Ferry Road. Atomic Chronic played. The Know Nothings played. The acoustic folk band.
Was this in a basement?
Yes. Were you there? This was.
There was a shit ton of bands, right?
Yes, there's like 8 bands.
And then did Lloyd's band supposed to play? Lloyd Nice
was supposed to
and
play.
They didn't play.
They didn't play.
G-Dub played that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You played that show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
that was my first show, Russ. And
wow.
I was probably still in high school, and my cousin's folk punk band played.
Okay.
And they wanted me to play with them because I played mandolin. Because I was like learning a lot of string instruments and like getting stuff down.
That's a pretty badass instrument.
I was doing all my own shit on my own, kind of at that point, in school, and I had not formed really a band yet. Like, but I knew that's what I knew I wanted to do. And I started working. I saved because I realized I was like, I don't want a fucking Squire Bullet. I want a real guitar. So I saved like $450 up, working at Dairy Queen on Riverside Drive.
Nice.
For like a month, 2 months, and then I went down to Mary's Music and I bought me an Ibanez Artcore, and that kind of started my long-standing like relationship with big fat hollow body guitars.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that kind of just felt like home. And I was like, okay, I got that one. I liked the way it looked. I liked the way it played. And I kind of like the idea of the semi hollow being something I didn't have to plug up all the time. I could sit around and play. And then I bought it in high school, and I joined jazz band.
All right.
And I started learning like diminished chords and way more shit than I ever realized I would ever need to like play rock and roll. Because like at the end of the day, my goal was to play rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, there's no limit to rock and roll.
Exactly. But the magic really started, man. Things got really cool. I started my first band. It was called the Mighty Olsons. It was with just a drummer because I was obsessed with the White Stripes and the Black Keys at that point. Because the Black Keys, I got to go see them at the Ryman. That was my first real big like.
What a good place to go for your first show, dude.
Well, I went to technically my first show was in like '98.
Okay.
I went to the first Buzzfest.
All right.
With Everclear, Cowboy Mouth.
I was there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I was blown away.
Because I love Everclear.
Right.
You know,
such a good band.
Yeah.
So underrated, like in the grand scheme
Art's
of
great,
things.
man.
So fucking good. Band's so good. But that was my first show ever.
Okay.
It was like the first Buzzfest. Some 41 played.
Yep.
It's wild, dude. Wow. Thinking back, it's crazy.
Well, just to be a Starwood, you know.
Yeah, just to be Starwood. I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's cool. Fucking cool.
But that was my first one. But my first real, like, as a teenager, I went to a bunch of local shows. I saw some killer shit. But my first real show was like going to see the Black Keys at the Ryman.
But
and
I mean, fucking Ryman, dude.
Exactly. It was fire. I was like in high school. I was in a sophomore or junior in high school. It was just like, it was so cool.
The first time I ever went to Ryman, I saw Ralphie May there, the comedian.
Yeah.
But the first band I saw there was Oasis.
Oh, tough. That's sick as fuck.
And I wasn't really into Oasis. I mean, I knew them, but my buddy was like, hey, man, you want to go? I got extra ticket. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I was like, are they going to fight? What's going to happen?
Right. You never know at that point.
They didn't. So go ahead.
But I kind of got sucked in. I was coming out of high school. My senior year, I really grew into my own a lot. I always make jokes about this, and people laugh about it. Dude, I was a homecoming king in high school.
Get a fuck.
I was fucking popular.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I was like the face of fucking alternative for my high school.
All right.
I went to Montgomery Central High School, so everybody's like rednecks.
Yeah.
So I was like everybody's filthy long-haired cousin that was like, what up? People fucked with me. So I realized kind of coming out of that, I was like, I'm going to try to form a band. I'm going to try to do something. And I met this cat, Cody Suits. He was a year younger than me.
Okay.
And he was fucking obsessed with Iron Maiden. Like, obsessed. I seen him for like a week straight, and every day I seen him, he's wearing a different Iron Maiden shirt.
That's cool.
And I went up to him, and I was like, bro, what the fuck's up with you? You love Maiden. He was like, it's my favorite band. I was like, what are you up to? And he's like, I play drums. And I was like, do you now? That's all it took, man. We started talking. We practiced, like, we're like, we want to get together and jam. We practiced like a week later. He could hold 4 on the floor, baby, and we fucking ran with it. I started my first band. It's called the Mighty Olsons.
Just you and him?
Just me and him. I played guitar and sang, and he played drums.
Fuck yeah.
And we were together for a year and a half. And
now this was still in high school?
This was coming out of high school.
Okay.
This was the last semester of senior year.
Okay.
And we didn't break up till summer after my freshman year of college.
Hell, that's fucking cool.
And we stayed together. Dude, that's how all my early networking. And it was killer because like I didn't have to round up a bunch of motherfuckers. I was 18, he was 17. That was the only downfall. I was like, let's go jump in I bought this crazy 1983 Buick Park Avenue. It was like a giant boat.
Yeah.
And we would throw all the gear in that motherfucker and drive it all over Middle Tennessee. We played Memphis. We played Nashville a bunch. We played all... Because I just started... At that point, it's MySpace.
Yeah.
I'm like networking with fucking everybody I meet. I'm just like, pop.
Dude,
we're just trying to do this.
That was a great way, dude.
This was the wild thing, though. We didn't like really get acknowledged by home. Like, we had our own weird little Montgomery Central scene because there was a couple kids younger than me that we all, like, started playing together, and everybody had a bunch of little different bands. And one of the guys' dads had a huge shed outside with electricity and shit. And he was like, man, y'all just come over here and y'all fucking hang out, party, play music. We don't care, fuck.
Fuck, yeah.
And, dude, that's how we, like, cut our chops. Because we'd go over there for, like, for the weekend and just be hanging out and fucking playing all day. Because like we could, because I didn't care, you know. That's something like that.
So you're learning that craft, and you keep getting you're bettering yourself every day you play together. You know?
And we're doing it like all the time. Like,
were you recording in there as well? A little tape recorder.
We didn't start really doing that till the end. Well, I say that, but we spent that whole spring of my senior year, and we're like playing every weekend and practicing. So we hadn't played a show yet, but I was like, we got to get these songs down. So I'm already writing songs. We have like fucking 5 or 6 songs. And I was like, we can play, 4 or 5 Black Keys and White Stripes songs, of course. And at the end of my senior year, like a month before we graduate, Channel 4 is doing this special all over the state. And they're going every week to a different high school. And they do this like whole little thing, and they do it on a Friday morning, and the school comes in early, and they like showcase the school and all the students, and everybody does stuff. Well, we had a band from our high school that played pop punk that probably was on that show with you too. They were Almost Atlantic at that time, or they Sterling Heights at that time. It was R.J. Taylor's band.
May sound familiar.
But we were all in school together, and they were like a little pop punk band, Monty and R.J.'s band, which they fucking rocked. They were killer. Monty played to a click track. They were fucking good for us to be like 16, dude. They were great.
For sure.
They were really good. But, I was like, no, bro, I'm not trying to play shit like that. I'm trying to play trashy music. I'm trying to play rough shit. Because, like, everyone, like, I was the metalhead of our class, essentially.
But you were just into, like, classic rock.
Yeah, I was super, I wasn't really into metal like some of my friends. I say that, but, like, then I had, like, fucking Charles Parker and John Grimes and Jacob Band, all the real scum punk dudes. They were into heavy shit. They were into punk. But I don't know, I was tinged enough to be, like, in both circles. But the school came to me because they were going to let RJ's band play. And I was like, yo, if you're going to let one band play, you got to let us play.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, deal. So they let us play, and, dude, we fucking tore it up. We, like, ripped it. My buddy JB, his parents had bought him this fucking huge Marshall stack. And it wasn't like an MG. This was like a fucking $3,000, like, full fucking tube, huge, full stack.
In high school.
Yeah, in high school. That was JB's parents. But JB was like, Cody, you got to use my stack. You're going to be on TV. You got to use my stack. I was like, okay, bet. So we played fucking 2 Black Keys songs. We played Thick Freakness and Set You Free. And it was only me and Cody. And we had been playing for fucking months at that point. We had been playing these songs like 20 times a weekend, every weekend for like 5 months. So, like, it was our moment, dude.
You're shining.
We killed it. We, like, ate it up. So everyone was like, bah! And I was like, hell yeah! That was my first real
You got
exposure.
that taste.
I got the taste, dude. And it was all my peers and every girl I thought that was hot. I was like, fucking, oh! I turned around and looked at him. I was like, bro, we riding this to the bank. We ain't doing nothing else with our life. Fuck everything. This is the go. And that was in high school. And then that next year and a half, like, I tried breaking in the scene a little bit, but to be honest, I was doing so much networking with MySpace. We were traveling.
As far as that era, when the end of high school, after you graduated, what was around then at that point?
Oh, this is 2009.
Okay, so
this is like 2009.
So the coup was around.
The coup was around.
Yeah.
The coup had just started coming from 08 to 14.
Yep.
And I had come to a couple shows at the coup, like, not many, and, like, I'll be transparent about it. There was a lot of drama that had happened between the Chronic Crew and my cousin's band, the Know Nothings, John and Jacob and all them. And a lot of things had happened at the coup and all kinds of, like, things. So I had more or less stayed away from those circles just because a lot of times I was guilty by association.
Yeah.
But as I started getting out more and playing shows more and, like, playing in Nashville regularly, playing Kung Fu Coffee, the Muse and shit, playing those spots, and meeting bands that were going to Vanderbilt, like, meeting the scene down there before it really popped off.
Yeah.
More and more people kept asking me, they're like, don't you play at home? And I was like, not really, dude.
Yeah.
And then the momentum just kind of kept rolling until we started getting a little older and things got a little more complicated in terms of, substances, alcohol, and we started partying a little bit, and I was taking Cody, and I was like, no, dude, we're gonna stay in this other town tonight and this weekend and party with these girls. And he was like, we were, and His mom was getting upset. His fucking girlfriend was getting upset.
You wanted to be the rock. You were doing the rock star thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I was trying to. I was 18 years old.
Like,
just no, fuck you. We're doing this.
Well, that's what you thought. That's what bands do.
Exactly.
You know?
I was like, I'm trying to live up to this aesthetic. Thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this.
Yeah.
But we kind of imploded. Me and because there was only two of us, and his girlfriend like got really upset with me. And he was like, man, I can't do the band right now. I was like, no, you just can't deal with me right now. It's not a whole band, it's just me. But that summer is how everything changed. Because this is where the real story starts.
All right.
And this is summer 2010. And the summer after my freshman year of college. That summer, I started writing songs that I feel need more.
Uh-huh.
I play with a bass player on like a little like jam thing that I did, and I was like, dude, I need a bass player so badly. I was like, I need a bass player so badly. And so I started writing these like bigger, thicker songs, and I like around this time I like super fell in love with Kings of Leon.
All right.
And the thing was, You Somebody and Sex on Fire and all that shit was popping off, but all that did was open the doorway for me. Because The Bucket, it came out a few years earlier, and I was a Fuse kid, so I was watching that network and shit in like 2004.
Yeah.
And that music video played all the time.
Was Fuse Canadian?
I think so. Yeah. I think it was Canadian based, but it had all the fucking good alt music on it.
Yeah,
it had,
for
like,
sure.
Emo and like metal and everything good was on it. And I fell in love with their music video, like for The Bucket around that time, but I could never find their records out or anything. And at this time I didn't have a car. I wasn't able to do like adult things. And go look for shit.
Adult things.
And I could never kind of like round their shit up. So they more or less fell back off for me. I had like a CD with The Bucket on it, and I kind of just let it go. But then I was messing with this girl in college, and I said messing. I was dating this girl in college, and she like fell in love with Kings of Leon hard. And she goes, well, I'm going to go buy all their other records. And I was like, well, you don't even know if you like them. She was like, well, I probably will. She was like, fucking leave me alone. I'm going to do it. And then she bought like Youth and Young Manhood, which is their first record.
Okay.
And dude, from the fucking moment that I was just like, what the fuck is this? Because it was like, it sounded like the White Stripes, but it sounded like the White Stripes from fucking my backyard. It sounded like little redneck country, because they were from fucking Nashville.
Yeah, for sure.
It was Nashville garage rock.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is every fucking thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And weird bass lines and like, fuck you lead guitar. I was like, yes, this is it. So that summer, I started writing all these songs that were like, this is going to be this. This is I need this. And I kept shuffling through people, trying to find more people I couldn't find. And I found this drummer kid that really fucking, I showed it to him, and he was like, he loved it too. He fell in love with it. He's like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And I kept looking around, kept trying to find people. And our buddy John filled in and did bass with us for this little Harry Potter thing at the library.
Okay.
We played like Harry Potter songs. This is Wizard Rock era too. Okay. This is when all the whole fandom around Harry Potter had all the bands. Did you ever hear about that?
Nah, fuck no.
Dude, that's a whole thing in its own right.
Only thing I ever knew about was like fucking, it's not nerdcore, but what's the, I can't even think of the fucking name now.
Well, this was like a whole subgenre of music based around the Harry Potter series.
All right.
And it was, dude, there was fucking like 50 bands in the country. There was like 5 festivals. People
what
would go
the
on
fuck?
tour. Fucking they would
and just play these fests?
Public libraries.
Oh.
There'd be like, we're hitting 6 libraries on the way to fucking Wizard Stock over here. And dude, these libraries are fucking throwing these bands like $500 a pop. And these are like DIY songs. They get up here and play like 30-minute, like 6-song sets about like Moaning Myrtle and shit. And when I tell you, I was like, I seen it. I witnessed it in Nashville. I was like, because Harry and the Potters played Nashville. And
wait, there's a band called Harry and the Potters.
That was the main band that started it,
really?
Harry and the Potters. And bro, their songs fucking rock. It's super DIY, lo-fi, but it's all good as shit. Like it's well-wrote songs. And it was a whole fandom and culture thing, you know?
Okay.
So I fucking go to the library and I see there's like 700 people to see this fucking band. And I was like, what? So I go and I write some Harry Potter songs, and because they're doing a Harry Potter celebration at the library, and I was like, I'm gonna go be the band on this. I'm gonna go talk to them, and I did. I went straight to them, and I was like, you guys doing a Harry Potter celebration? I have a Harry Potter band. Let my Harry Potter band play. And they were like, all day.
Fucking A.
So guess who I seen at that?
Who?
Guess who comes walking in with my little brother? Ian does.
Yes.
Ian looks at me and he's like, bro, what is up? And I was like, fucking Ian, dude, what is going on? Because I hadn't seen him in years.
Yeah.
We were friends on MySpace and stuff, but we had not really crossed paths again. And he was like, what are you doing? What is this? And I was like, this is like my fucking goofy ass Harry Potter project that I'm just doing. And he's like, is this all you're doing? And I was like, no, I'm trying to start a full band. And he was like, I'm trying to find a new band. And I was
shit.
we were just like, really? And we caught up, we hugged, we like gave each other's number. And at that point, he wasn't driving. I was driving, but he wasn't yet.
And was he still living in Hopkinsville or whatever?
Yeah, he lived up in Herndon. He lived up there. And I was like, what are you into? And he's like, I'm working, but I don't have a fucking band anymore. My fucking drummer moved away. He's like, I'm doing anything to try to get a new band going. And I was like, I need a fucking lead guitar player. And he's like, all day.
Yeah.
So we ran into each other. This was like at the end of, this is in December. This is early December. And I stay in touch with him. I call him, we text and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I got this kid that was playing drums with me for the Harry Potter thing. And at Mary's Music that winter, that same Christmas break, right at the day college let out, I finished my finals. I went down to go buy something, a pack of strings or something.
Yeah.
And this dude was over in the corner down at Mary's playing a duo sonic guitar. He's like this kind of like wiry little Jesus-looking dude. And I walked up to him because I love that duo sonic. I was going to come fuck with it too because it's like my favorite guitar in Mary's at the time. I come up and I told him, I was like, that guitar's fucking sick, dude. And we start talking and chatting. And he's like, well, man, he's like, I'm not really a guitar player. He's like, I play guitar. My dad's a guitar player. He's like, but I play bass. And I was like, really? I said, what's your name? And he said, I'm Mark Easterling. And I said, okay, Mark. I said, I'm be real with you, dude. I got some songs I play too. He's like, I have everything but a bass player lined up to jam in a couple weeks. Are you free? And he said, yeah, dude, I am. Let's do it.
All right.
So I networked with him. I lined it up. I called, the drummer's name was Dylan. I called Dylan. I said, hey, I got a guitar player. I got a bass player. Let's get together right here around Christmas. Let's try to do something. And it was the first time we all got together. It was me, Mark, Ian, and Dylan. And the first song we ever played was How Many More Times by Led Zeppelin. And I'll never fucking forget it. I'll never forget it. With all of my heart and soul, I'll never forget it. It was such a wild... I had spent that same summer that I had spent all my college money coming back into that semester at the end of the summer on a Gibson 335. That red Gibson 335 that I still have to this day.
Yeah. That's your guitar.
That's my guitar.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, Russ, that's actually like that was somebody's guitar. That was Mick Mars of Motley Crue's guitar.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not lying to you at all. I have a story behind it. That same semester, I had bought...
Where did you buy it at?
I bought it in Nashville.
Okay.
Gruins? No. It's a whole...
All right, go ahead.
Story
go
too.
ahead.
I'm sorry, I have so much. I have so many stories, dude.
No.
The 335, little insect, because I was from the school of fucking hollow bodies.
Yeah.
I loved them. Before I went down the 335 route, I had the Ibanez in school. My graduation present from my great-grandmother when I graduated high school, she knew I really wanted a Gretsch guitar. And she was an elder lady. She was in her 80s. And she told my grandma, she was like, have Cody find the guitar he wants and then let me know.
Well.
And I was like, my grandma came to me, and she was like, yo, Mama's going to buy you a guitar for graduating school. I was like, nuh-uh. And she was like, yeah. And she said she knows you want a Gretsch. Because my great-grandma also was the first woman in Clarksville to play on the radio.
Really?
Yeah, her and her two sisters were a gospel trio in the 30s.
Wow.
And I have fucking 45s of them and all kinds of stuff. It's
That's
crazy.
Cool, man.
So she had known she was in enough. You know, she knew good instruments and good instrumentation.
For sure, yeah.
She was seasoned enough to know, and she heard me telling my mom I wanted a Gretsch. And she was like, that's a good guitar. She's like, those are good guitars. I know they're made well. She's like, they've been around since I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And she came to me and they told me, she's like, find a guitar you want. And I was like, bro, I get to pick it out too? What the fuck? I was like, no way. And sure enough, man, I found, it was out of California. I found a Gretsch Duo Jet, a double cutaway solid body with a Bigsby. And I got it because Jack White played one in the Rockin' Chairs. And I was like, I gotta have this. But here's where I ran into like the classic, why you should never do things like that, children. I got this guitar and I fucking loved it. Everybody was impressed with it because it was a badass, and I got it for a killer price. I got it for like $1,700, and it was like a $3,500 guitar. Had it done up, but on the Gretsch Duo Jets, they have the double horns.
Okay.
And on the horns, there's two selection switches. One is for your pickups, one's for your humbuckers, your bridge, your neck. But the other one is for your tone pot.
Okay.
And it can turn your tone pot all the way on or all the way off. And I'm a motherfucker. I am very expressive when I play.
Oh yeah,
dude. I can't play those guitars with those switches.
Yep.
I constantly fuck my tone up, and I don't mean to. And I realized the year after buying that guitar, because it was the summer going into college, summer 2009, I realized through that year of playing my Gretsch, I was like, man, I can't, I'm having a hard time with this. I'm used to, my Ibanez had the selection switch down at the
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like it was a big fat hollow body. I never had to worry about any of that up here. And then I slowly, like, I was like, I'm doing this full band thing. I got the Gretsch. I still have it, but I was like, what do I... And that's when I was like, I really want a fucking Gibson. I want a Gibson. Everybody plays Gibson. Gibson's the fucking standard for a reason. Yeah. I was like, that's what I want. Of course, my ass, like, the only way I was ever going to afford these multi-$1,000 instruments was to drop all of my scholarship money every semester on it, which I did. Duh. But the next summer, that summer, the 2010 summer, the summer I started writing full band songs, I had told Brad, my buddy Brad, I had bought an amp from him, 2 amps from him, and then bought an acoustic guitar from him. So he was like my guy at Guitar Center.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, Mick Mars came in and sold like 15 guitars.
Yeah, because he was living in Nashville at the time. Yeah, he still does, but yeah.
He came in and sold like this whole collection. And it was like, it wasn't, but the thing about it wasn't, he couldn't take it to like Groon and probably get a bunch of money for it because it was all very basic, like newer guitars that he had bought. It was his tour package.
Gotcha.
That's what it was. And I know it was that because I got the fucking thing from it. I got the case had the marks on it. It had it was labeled.
Yeah.
I had like the tour tag and everything. It was like, and it was all the guitars he had played on that big like 2008 tour.
Okay.
That big like farewell whatever tour.
Yeah.
Where he played a fucking different guitar for every song.
Yeah. Alice Cooper opened that show.
Exactly. Yeah. He came out and sold this collection to GC.
And you know he probably got all those fucking guitars for free.
Exactly. It was just one of those things. It was just like that.
Yeah.
You just nailed it because I'm sure it was all promote. You know?
Yeah.
But in the midst of this collection, there was a red 335.
Oh shit!
And Brad calls me and he's like, "Hey man, Mick Mars." I was in college at the time. I was in my like second week of school.
Were you going to Austin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I come rolling out because he calls me on the phone and I like step out of class and I'm like, "What's up, dude?" And he's like, "Hey, Mick Mars just came in here and sold us 15 guitars. And he sold us a red 335. And I was like, how fucking much do you want for it? And he was like, I'll give it to you for 18. And I said, I'm on my fucking way. I rip-roared right out of Harnett Hall, hauled ass down to the fucking parking lot, jumped in my goddamn hoopty Buick, and took off to Nashville. I get there. I come inside real quick. Brad meets me at the door. And he's like, hey, it's right over here. I can't obviously bring it to you, but it's right over here.
Yeah.
He takes me to it. I sit down and start playing it. 2 different dudes walk up to me, and they're like, bro, I'm just telling you, if you put that guitar down, I'm buying it. And I was like, God damn it. So I sit there and I play it for a minute, and I was like, well, nobody's buying it but me today. And I fucking bought it. And that's been my red 335 ever since, dude. And it's funny because if you go back and look in that tour, there's like videos. And I was like,
so you looked it up and shit?
Oh, I looked it up. I was like, what song is it going to be? And it's my favorite fucking Crew song.
What's that?
Girl, Don't Go Away Mad.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I was like, boy! I was like, all day.
Now, the tour tag and all that shit, do you still have that?
Yeah, I have it. I have this. There's one place in the world where I trust, like one place in the world that I trust things to go.
Yeah.
And my grandma on my dad's side has a garage that's been in my family and my life my entire life. And there's a big set of filing cabinets and safes and stuff up in it. And I have like 2 drawers that I have a bunch of shit in, and that's in one of those drawers.
Hell yeah, man.
So it's like one of those things that one day somebody, that'll be there's a lot of weird, crazy.
Do you still use the same case?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Ian has patched the shit out of it up, dude. It's because I put it, that motherfucker's been put through hell for 10 years. And he's, after I left it at his house once, man, I got it back, and he took a whole damn thing of electrical tape and doctored the shit out of it. So it's way better now. But
how much damage have you done to that guitar?
Oh, there's so much buckle up on the back, dude. So
I used to wear my belt on the side so the buckle wouldn't do that, you know?
Yeah, because that's on the back of it. You can see it. Like the finish is just like
I used to have so many fucking dents in the back of my bass, you know, and I was like, and then my buddy Jesse, Jenna's her husband, he was like, man, I was like, so I tried it and I was like, that's a genius.
That's the move.
Yeah.
That's the fucking move.
So now you guys are jamming to Zeppelin. Yeah. All right. You guys sit there. You guys obviously connected. You guys, for that song. What happens after that?
we like spend that whole day kind of playing and like jamming, and me and Ian are like both on kind of cloud nine, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We want to do this. We're gonna be the band. We're gonna start a band. We're gonna start a band. Let's do it. Fuck yeah, let's do it. We go through it all. I message Mark because I know Mark's a little more apprehensive than the rest of us. He was just jamming, you know. I was like, hey, dude, here's the deal. I was like, so here's my plan. I was like, I'm trying to start a band. Like, I want to be in a band that plays.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to just jam. I'm trying to be in a band. And he's like, man, I'm in school and shit. But he's like, fuck it. He's like, I'll do it. Let's do it. Let's jam for a bit. Let's practice some songs, try to get something together and play somewhere. Well, in the midst of it kind of coming together, it's like February. I work at I mentioned I worked at Dairy Queen.
Yep.
Dairy Queen on Riverside. I worked there from the time I was 16 to the time I was 23.
All right.
I worked there for 7 years. All through high school and right through the beginning of college. Well, pretty much all through college.
Yeah.
My boss at Dairy Queen was the treasurer of the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
I never made the connection until after all this happened, but I know that's how it happened. But somebody messaged me on Facebook and sent me a link, and they're like, hey, they're taking applications for Rivers and Spires.
All right.
And I had known infamously through Ian's dad and through multiple other musicians I knew that they were like real stiffler dicks about booking any locals at Rivers and Spires for what the fuck ever reason. So I was like, I know it's never going to happen. But I got on and I was like, well, fuck it, I'll apply. And we had just taken pictures. We had literally so this had to be like March, maybe March. I don't know. We were like, we didn't have no plans yet.
But you had your band photos.
Well, we had a few songs starting to get together, so we were like, well, we gotta get shit together. So I take her I get the pictures, and I apply the first day. Somebody sends me the link, and I apply, and I sold it really well. I was like, we're a group of Austin P, and I sold it as like new classic or new Southern rock, like a whole. The way I spilled it was like really good to the city. I like fluffed it up, but I really didn't expect shit.
Yeah,
and we had to have a name. And I didn't want to be like the Cody Parson band or something fucking stupid.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. I had to earn that. But I didn't really have a name, and I was talking to him about. I was like, "Do we have a name yet?" And Mark was like, "We don't need a fucking name yet. We don't really have any shows. We're like still getting our sound together. We don't need a name yet." And I said, "Well, what if we like get to play something? What are we gonna tell people it is?" And he was like, "I don't know. Just fucking make something up." And I said, okay. So I filled out this application, and I was an English major in school.
All right.
And there's a Mark Twain poem. Well, it's not a poem, it's an essay. It's about the satirical. It's basically a satire on the on the hypocrisy of like the South.
Okay.
And he mentions whiskey angels in it, and he said, "Don't my whiskey angel." And I was just like, I'm just going to put that because I had just read the shit in school. I was just like, this is
so it's fresh in your head.
So it was literally in my head. And I thought it was kind of campy and dumb or whatever. Yeah. But I was doing this under the guise that we weren't going to get this gig anyway. Yeah. And sure enough, dude, like a week later, we're getting ready to practice. And like we're getting ready to get together again. And I fucking open up my email. And right there from Parks and Rec. And they're like, congratulations, we want you to play Rivers and Spires 2011. And we had never even played a show.
Yeah.
And Ian just looked at me and he's like, shut the fuck up. I said, dude, it's right fucking here. And Mark was just like, well, goddamn. He's like, I didn't think they were fucking going to take it. He's like, what? Whiskey Angel's such a goofy name. I said, I know, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to be like that either. And then our drummer was freaking out because he had an extremely religious family.
Oh, shit.
And he was like, oh, my God, we can't do that name. And I was like, well, it's already in now, boys. And I was like, we can't tell them, like, fucking, we're changing our name or whatever. We can tell them at the show. But, like, we basically, Ian dips out of the basement immediately and calls his dad and is like, yo, we're fucking playing Rivers and Spires. And James on the other end is like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, you're not. He's like, so everybody in our circles, like, because at this point we weren't with the coup yet. Okay. I never gained my coup wings at this point.
Okay.
Plus,
all right.
The Mighty Olsons imploded before I ever really had a chance to. Because I was playing out of town, but that's how I made all my networking contacts early. But we get this fucking Rivers and Spires gig. And Mark immediately is like, all right, we have to take this seriously now. Like, Mark was like, all right, we have to be good. It's like, we can't fuck around. And Mark kind of, like, almost morphed on the spot and became more of, like, driving band dad for us because he had played with his dad his whole life.
All right.
And his dad played with fucking Bob Seger.
Wow.
Like he'd been in the business his whole, like he was raised by rock and roll. So Mark was like, all right, motherfuckers. He's like, we got to be good. I'm not going to play with you unless we're good. We have to be good. So like we started practicing all the fucking time.
Yeah.
We're practicing like twice a week. We're doing like Wednesdays and weekends. And thank God for the woman I lived with, Miss Beth, at the time, because one of my best friends moved away to college, and his mom wanted me to move in their big ass house with her and live in the basement. She was like, "You can practice and stuff." I was like, "Fuck yeah,
hell
awesome."
Yeah!
So we start getting it together, and we have our first show at Rivers and Spires in like 2011, and all these people, all these fucking Montgomery Central people come, and like all this, because no one like expected this.
Yeah,
we
for
didn't
sure.
expect
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And sure enough, we fucking tons of people came, and that's when like. Even James looked at me and Ian looked at each other, and we're like, all right, maybe we're fucking onto something. Let's do something. Let's ride this.
Yeah.
And our second show was a BWC show like a month later. The moment we played the first one, some people from the BWC came up, and they're like, hey, we're doing this fucking show next month. You guys should come play, because we were Whiskey Angel, and we were like this trashy Southern rock band.
Yeah.
We weren't even playing Scirocco or any of that shit at this time. We're just early, but we people fucked with it. And we started playing together way more. At the end of that first gig, though, Russ, we get home from Rivers and Spires that day. We're all on cloud 9. I'm 19. I'm like, we fucking killed it. I feel like a rock star. Our drummer comes in the back door with his dad. And he's like, guys, I have to quit the band.
Because of... Oh,
I
shit.
swear to you, dude. He's like, my grandfather received an enchantment. And we're like, what? And he's like, enchantments are from the devil. It was a whole thing,
my God.
Dude. So he quits. He quits on us. And me and Ian call Mark, and we're like, dude, Dylan just quit. And Mark's like, fuck him. Who cares? We can get a better drummer. That's all Mark said. Mark out the gate was like, no, good. He was the weak link. We need a better drummer anyway. What's wild, though, is we're partying that night. I'm like kind of freaking out because we just lose Dylan, but all these people are there celebrating.
Yeah,
the gig was good. Guess who walks in the back door? Cody Suits, my original drummer for my two-piece.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, good show today, fucker. And I was like, yeah, should have been you playing drums. He's like, do you want it to be?
Oh, snap.
And that was it.
Everything fell into pieces.
A month later, dude, Cody Suits was the drummer of Whiskey Angel, and it was the first 3 years was me, Suits, Ian, and Mark. And
wow.
We played that BWC thing, and the next thing you know, here's where I really get come in with the scene. I get asked by John Brady. You know John Brady? Mm-hmm. I get asked by John Brady. He said, hey, man, I'm putting together this thing called the Music Circle. And it's songwriters. It's like a writer's round. There's going to be 6 of us. We're all going to take turns playing songs. And I want to do it like downtown somewhere. And he did it through the coup.
All right.
So they put together this thing that summer. This is 2011. They put together the thing that summer. And they have a little writer's round right by the big fountain on Strawberry Alley.
Yeah.
And all kinds of people came out. Like a shit ton of people came out. Well, I was one of the people on that round that John put together. And I met Matt and Zach. And like I met tons of people that day because I was like the weird kid in the writer's round circle that was like, people were like, holy fuck, dude, who's this guy? And I told Zach, I was like, man, I got this band. You know, we played Rivers and Spires and shit. I'm trying to do more stuff. And he was like, yeah, we'll get you a date, man. It's cool. We'll figure it out, you know.
Sounds like him.
Yeah. And I was like, that's what I said. I was like, all right, well, do you know when? And he was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll let you know. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I didn't hear from him. At that time, I didn't realize the way I had to be with some of these people. And years later, I got my points across.
Yeah.
But at that time, I said, well, fuck it. Like, I met a lot of people through doing that music circle. I met Spencer Evans, and you know, me and Daniel Choi got to know each other a little bit. Some people like that. And Miss Beth was like, hey, Cameron's leaving for college back for college in September. He's like, you want to throw him a going away party?
Oh, shit.
And I looked at her and I was like, can I have bands? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah, I want to throw him a going away party. Into that summer, dude. It's like August or July. And we throw a party on Mayhew Road, right along River Road, right where River Road turns into Mayhew, goes all along the Cumberland River right there. We had a house. Miss Beth's house was right there. And we got to throw this big party in the basement. Dude, we had like 230 people show up. Like, there was fucking people everywhere. We had a giant parking lot at the end of the street, so it covered all the parking.
Yeah.
And you could stand in front of the house and you wouldn't hear a single note of noise because the way it was designed, it was way underground.
Okay.
All the noise went down to the river bottoms. So, like, you couldn't hear anything out front.
Hell yeah.
And we threw a fucking rager. And Whiskey Angel closed, and, like, everybody was like, oh, that was my first days of, like, that's when I realized I was like, dude, I could throw the fucking parties. Like, fuck it, I could do it.
Yeah.
Zach Learman messages me the next day.
Was he there?
He wasn't.
Oh.
Because they were doing I Heart Hip Hop at the Coup. And I'll never forget this. Lane Robertson gets online and starts bitching at everybody in the Clarksville music scene group. And he's like, you guys should be ashamed. We've been promoting this this big festival, the Coup, for like 2 months now. And half the scene didn't show up. Like, he was like popping off on the group for it. And Daniel Troy gets on there. He's like, yeah, because the whole half of the scene was at Cody Parson's house show.
Oh, shit.
And Zach Learman literally comes in my DMs and is like, hey, dude. He's like, I'm super, all about throwing cool big ragers. He's like, but let's try to coordinate something so we don't have the venue get fucked, And literally, I didn't know. And at that time, I didn't know. And that's when I replied back. I was like, well, now you fucking book me now. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when a couple weeks later, Whiskey Angel was on Riverfest, the Coup stage, at 11 a.m. on a Saturday. And a year later,
that was the first Coup stage, right?
That was, yep. No, that was the second one.
Was it?
Because 2010 they had one.
Gotcha.
Yep. So 2011. But we were at 11 a.m. on the Saturday, and a year later we were at 9 p.m. on a Friday.
On the Coup stage?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I made my fucking point over the year. No, that was the early days, man. And that's when interacting with Zach and meeting Matt and Corey and really seeing the community that sprung up around it. The moment that I realized that, like, I could join the scene, the moment that Zach, like, kind of brought us in and was like, hey, you guys are fucking... He's like, you're booking show. The shit you're doing, people are showing up for. Let's fuck with it, let's run it. It changed everything for me, Russ, because that's when I was really like, I became like this scene. That's when I was like, fuck. Me and Ian went to every fucking show for like a year and a half straight, dude. And it was not because like if we weren't playing and not going to some other big cooler show in Nashville, we were going to a local show here and getting fucked up with our friends. It's like, that's what you do. Like, where were we going to hang out? If we're going out, I'm going to a show.
Yeah, I mean, I booked a lot of shows at the Coup back in the day.
Dude, I went to a couple of your shows back in the day.
But the thing, it's like, and then when they moved to the house one.
The Q2.
Yeah, I didn't, it wasn't as much live music at that time, which I guess they started doing more electronic and stuff. And then the third location, when they got back into more, that's just how I see it. I could be wrong, but then I know that location on University is when I think the more live music started going back up. And I didn't really, I was booking shows in Nashville also, so I was doing both. But but like you said, that scene though at that first location was fucking insane, dude.
It was crazy.
All the shows were good turnouts. The shows were good turnouts.
Dude, that was still part of the era of like that. I say that all the time.
It was a MySpace era.
If people don't know it, they just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like, when people will fucking sneak in, here's a photo from a fucking local show in 06.
Yeah.
I was like, there's 500 fucking people there the way it should goddamn be. Like, the way it fucking... So many young kids don't understand that, like, that was the standard back in the day. These huge, fat JC shows where you're, like, fucking 6 bands, and of course everybody was going to come. Like, duh.
I rented out the JC several different times, and...
Fire.
Dude, it was a great venue to have because all you spent $150, right?
Yeah, amazing.
And then you charge whatever. The bands would get paid phenomenal. And I just talked about this 2 nights ago, 2 episodes ago. You paid the bands well. You didn't make no money for yourself, but you would make enough money so you could put it back into the next show.
Right, you're fueling the experience, baby.
Yeah, man. And the JC shows were phenomenal. Did you ever see any shows at the underground underneath the bowling alley? At the Pinnacle?
Not.
So
I fucking wish.
Yeah, dude. There's a place. I don't even know. I haven't been to the Pinnacle in years, but there's a place underneath it. It's the same size of the bowling alley. There's a stage down there, and there you used to do shows in there.
I know people had mentioned that they're doing shows back at the Pinnacle now, or asked me about booking it or something. I was like, bro, if I could get a fucking banger together, if kids came out like they used to,
Yeah, it's just a different time, a different era. Yeah,
it's a different era.
Different era. There you go.
Different era, man.
All right, so let's get into some Whiskey Angel. So like, I saw Whiskey Angel for the very first time, and I can't remember. You'll remember because I know I've heard the story from Ian.
Maybe
no, you know the story. It isn't. It's the first time I saw you was with opening up for Sebastian.
Oh, really? Okay.
That was the first time I ever saw you guys, and I was like, "Fuck, these dudes fucking rock." And then I found out you guys were local.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." And that's the first time I saw you. You had you still have it, but your stage presence is.
I appreciate that.
It's phenomenal. You get it. You get it.
I try to.
But that's the first time I ever saw you guys.
That show came about like in an interesting way. My dad and Mike grew up together. My dad, when he moved up here, Mike was one of his first friends he made in school. They were in the same class together, and him and Mike had been friends since they were like 12 or something.
Yeah.
So, Dad and Mike had been friends. My mom had been really good friends with Mike's ex-wife Tammy, his son, or his ex-wife, his sister Tammy. Was really good friends with his sister Tammy. And so we had always known him, like, in the family or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we started Whiskey Angel, and, like, through that kind of coup implosion at the end of the coup years, a lot of people started doing EDM, moving away. A lot of the bands fell off, and, like, Whiskey Angel was one of the only bands, like, we were active. We were still doing shit. We'd played there a time or two. We played at the Warehouse. It was like the staple of local. We did the End of the World show.
Yeah.
The 2012 one.
Yeah.
We have a live take of that. Ian has a live take, and you fucking hear like Doug, because we were the one scheduled to play through midnight.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, there was like 20 bands playing that big that show, and Whiskey Angel was playing through midnight.
Hell yeah!
And like we finished a song, and Doug comes on the talk over, and you hear it on the PA, and he's like, "We all survived the Mayan apocalypse." It's hilarious.
Real quick, Doug was a great sound guy, and he still sound right at the.
He's around. He sounded wicked.
Yeah,
I love Doug. He's a good dude. Mm-hmm. I got to know him really well when I was working at Wicked. He came in all the time.
Go ahead, and I'll tell you a story about him.
I guess the tour package came across Mike's desk. They were like, "Yo, we can get Sebastian," but they had asked him, "What locals do you think would be good for this?" And like at that point, everybody was really heavy. All the stuff he was booking was all metal bands and stuff. Yeah. And he was like, man, he's like, I don't know if I have anybody. And then Mandy was like, yo, what about fucking Ian and Cody's band?
Yeah.
And he was like, that's the only thing local we have that could even do this. Like,
yeah.
Because we're kind of like hard like a coffin nail, fuck you, rock and roll. So like it fit for Sebastian.
Yeah.
And dude, that asshole never met us. He didn't still bitch about it.
You couldn't even sit in there for fucking sound check.
Dude, we could nothing. He would not. I brought good weed. I brought great hydroponic weed. I was trying to smoke with him. I was like, bro, we just want to meet him, take a picture with him. Like, we're opening for him.
Yeah.
Come on. And he wouldn't do it. And
what a dick.
Ian got him back, though, dude. Ian had made us an entire roll at Flynn's. He was like, they had a sticker machine. And he like made a design and like put our shit on it. He had this whole roll of Whiskey Angel stickers. And we fucking plastered that tour package. Every fucking, like, amp case, every tour case, the vehicles. Dude, they got on our Facebook page and they wrote on our fucking wall on Facebook, the Whiskey Angel page, and they were like, real unprofessional boys. And it was like the Sebastian Bach tour package.
Hey.
And dude, it was so funny. Me and Ian were like, all right, we're making waves now. We're pissing the guys off.
Yeah.
And I said, the one thing I said, because the best part of that was, like, he had a hired gun band.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were all, like, badass as fuck.
Well, yeah, the bass player was from...
UFO.
Yeah, and he's also the bass player from one of my favorite hair bands called Spread Eagle.
Sick.
Yeah.
Well, what happened with us there, the cool story for, like, the band-wise, dude, Mark sees him.
Okay.
Like, across the venue. And this dude happens to be one of Mark's all-time favorite bass players.
Yep.
So Mark was like, holy fuck, just like beelines to him. And he's like, bro, you were the fucking bass player of UFO on this, and this. And the guy's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark's like, bro, you're one of my favorite fucking bass players. Yep. And dude, they just linked up like instantly. And it sucked because his whole band they all wanted to meet us. They were cool as fuck to us.
Yeah.
Mark and that guy like took pictures together and everything. They were super hype. And they were like, man, we're so sorry. He's such an asshole. He's like, you guys are cool. We could come out and same fuck. And we were like, we have weed and everything. And even the bass player guy was like, man, I'm so sorry. Because like, we smoked it with them.
Yeah.
They were cool as fuck.
Yeah.
But dude, he just wouldn't come hang out. And it was so lame.
It sucks. It's like, you know, nothing against the Warehouse, but you're playing the Warehouse.
Yeah.
In Clarksville, Tennessee.
Exactly. Come on, dude.
Even Chris Jericho, when the Fozzy played there, he met everybody. Dude, you know?
Fucking A. Dude, Chris Jericho's cool. But, that weird, that ridiculous, that was a fun, my favorite joke from that whole show, that whole spill. Do you remember when he came out and he seen Jason Yates from Wicked Good and he said, "You look just like Trent Reznor."
Yep.
That shit killed me, dude.
I remember him spinning the microphone around, and he's like, and then he says, "Wow, this is really close." And I think it was one of your family members in the front row or somebody you guys knew. He says, "Wow, we're really close. If I get a hard on right now, I might knock your teeth out." And it was like somebody you guys knew,
my cousin or something.
And she was like 14 or something.
Yeah, my cousin Josie. She was like 15 years old or something.
And I'm like, oh man,
God damn it, Sebastian.
But that's Bach. Sebastian, though. You know, that's just who he is,
man.
And he's still like that, you know. But was it just you guys on the show?
No, there was a young band that paid to be on the bill that opened or whatever, but I can't remember for the life of me what their name was.
That's crazy.
There was a dad-kid project kind of thing. Their dad was like the manager and shit, you know.
At that point, how long have you guys been a band at that point?
Oh, we had released the first record, so that was probably, what was that, winter 2014, I think?
Probably,
like December 2014.
I get bad with time sometimes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But we were tight.
Yeah.
We were tight enough.
Oh, yeah.
That was the other part of it, too. The band, like, afterwards, we were cool and met them beforehand. They were all nice and shit. But afterwards, they were all like, yo, you guys are fucking legit. They were cool as fuck to us. And we're all like, what the fuck, Sebastian? Fuck you. You don't suck. Like, fuck. But whatever.
Yeah.
But that was one of the cooler shows I've probably honestly.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, it's Sebastian Bach. You know what I'm saying?
Tight.
You know, you're opening up from fucking a legend from the 80s, you know?
Exactly. It was tight.
It's the closer you're going to get to the real deal.
Right. And that's what it felt like, too. It was like, man, of course we're going to open up for this guy. Like, tight.
So Whiskey Angel, where all did you play? Like, where'd y'all travel around to? What's the farthest you guys played? Just
Louisville, Lexington, Knoxville, Chattanooga, everywhere originally.
Yeah.
We did a couple things in Illinois a couple times.
Yeah.
Nothing ever really, no real long runs.
Yeah.
A couple weekend busts a couple times, like Evansville and shit like that. But never anything that was like, no, we're about to go out for 2 months or even like 2 weeks, really. We had 3 different vans over the span of the years. We went, like I said, we played regionally a lot, but we didn't really ever tour a lot.
Yeah.
It was always too hard on the cards. But Whiskey Angel kind of, I don't know, my focus, this sounds bad, but when the coup closed, a lot of my focus musically like shifted away from just my own music more back towards the community. Because so many things I noticed so many people that were making things happen went away. And that's like really what even inspired me and pushed me to do half the things I did in the community. It was like no one was doing it. And I was like, well, fuck, people will come, people will care if people do it again. So that's really like the motivation behind a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And losing the coup in 2014, you know.
Yeah. That was a great venue.
That's why Whiskey Angel kind of got ingrained in the Warehouse as heavy as we did too. Because like
did you guys play there often?
We played the Warehouse pretty often for that little span towards the end. Because like we didn't have the coup anymore, and it was one of the things where like me and Mike talked about it a lot. We were one of the only bands. Like metal bands, a lot of metal bands could do it because metal's like a good niche genre that could cover a lot of times.
Yeah.
But a lot of bands like couldn't play 2 sides of everything. You know, you're like one. You guys have seen it a lot because the alt scene here is fucking really like pretty tight knit.
Yeah.
But we just found we could play like any of the shit. We could play any of the kind of shows. And that's what Mike said. We would play shit at the coup and then could turn around and come play at the Warehouse, and it was just like, all right, you fit both. It was fine.
In my early days of in my band, I always joke like we were the fucking house band because they would always be like, "Hey, can you all play?" I'm like, fuck yeah! I mean, we played we opened. I mean, we at that point
that's your home venue.
Yeah. I mean, it was like and this is before this last cool run of the Warehouse. In the early days that we played there, and by early days I mean early 2000s, it was like we would play. We were playing anything because one, we were a little younger. We didn't have no family, nothing that held us back. So we would play any fucking show offered to us. All the time, yeah. We would play everything from a cover band to local bands. And back then there was always local shows there. There was it'd be like 4 locals on there and it'd be sold the fuck out. Right, right. And the radio station would have local battle of the bands contests, and they would be sold the fuck out.
Yates told me that 98 to 2003 or 4.
Yeah.
He said it was just fucking crazy. He's like, the warehouse was always popped. He's
Yeah.
like, all the local shows were fucking popping. It was like, where else were people going to go? What else were people going to do? You're going to go to fucking see the shows, duh.
Yeah. It was a good time. Don't get me wrong. There was always good shows there. It's just whether it was something that we wanted to go see or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they got, they did change over the years. They got a different booker. And then they got some fucking shows that you wouldn't expect to come to Clarksville. First off, ICP came to Clarksville. Okay, Cannibal Corpse came to Clarksville. Yeah. Fear Factory.
Right, they were getting fucking big bands.
Yeah, big bands.
There's some big bills there, man.
Yeah, you Soulfly, like I said, Fear Factory, a Super Joint Ritual, Phil from Pantera, Mushroom Head. Yeah, they were getting a lot of those good shows there, and always good, always selling the fuck out, Right. But we weren't really playing there during that time because that promoter at that time, you had to pay to play.
Right.
And that was one thing my band was always against. We would never pay to play. Ticket sales, no. Unless it was whatever you sell is what you make for your band. That right. You guys keep that. So you sell you sell 10 tickets, that's what you get. So fuck selling them, just give them out.
Yeah, exactly. More people.
Yeah, for sure. So we didn't play in that era. But then when that stopped, Mandy was letting everybody book shows, which was amazing, or ask us to play with some of these bands, and it was cool.
Shout out Mandy,
yeah,
one of the angels of this music scene, all this.
She did a lot,
big time, dude.
Yeah,
for years she always has, dude. Love you, baby.
Yeah. I wish. It's funny. The warehouse, we pass it every day.
Yeah, seriously.
It's been 2 years now.
Damn, it doesn't feel like it.
No.
That last show, dude, was one of the fucking goddamn.
You guys didn't play the last 2 weekends, did you?
Yeah, we did.
You played the last. Did you play Saturday?
Whiskey Angel played Saturday.
Yeah. Because I booked the Metal Fest that week. So here's a funny story about that. So I always like to book shows, there. And I had an idea. I was like, well, we have a lot of metal bands in this area. I want to book a 2-day Metal Fest. I said, Mandy, can I book a 2-day Metal Fest? She said, when? I said, well, let's book it. Let me book this in advance. I want to book it on this weekend here because it gives us enough time for you to have your books open and we can do it, right? So I booked it for the end of July. I think it was the 28th and 29th of 2022. Yeah. So I booked this. Well, at that point that I booked it, she already knew.
Oh, man.
But she didn't want it. She couldn't tell me. She wanted to tell me, but she couldn't tell me.
She couldn't.
So I'm booking this show. I get all the lineups. A couple weeks later, they announced that the warehouse is closed. And I'm like, fuck, what about my show? She said, no, still going to have it. We're going to book Sousapalooza the last weekend. The last weekend is open.
Right.
I was like, all right, bet. So we're going to go out with a Metal Fest. We're going to go out with the rock, the OG crowd.
Yeah.
So the Metal Fest, fucking phenomenal turnout. I was so stoked, The warehouse got paid.
Yeah,
all the bands got paid great. Awesome. And the next weekend, of course, the AC was out, and it was the hottest I've ever been in the fucking warehouse because you're bumper to bumper, everybody,
Dude, it was fucking sardine.
But it was a great fucking weekend,
energy, man.
Dude.
Energy was unmatched.
Yep.
And God.
I watched, I got to see you guys play and that. And I know how you are. You will throw down. But just like everybody, you're gonna throw the fuck down because you get that vibe from the crowd too.
Yeah,
Not only do you, Cody, have your own energy, you feed off
when
the
they give it back to me. That's what I tell you. I say, dude, when somebody's giving it back to me, I will fight the fucking world. I don't care. I will die, and I will die happy. Fuck it.
And I'm gonna say this, and this is just something that comes to mind currently. You remind me, and it's not the same style, but the way your energy is, but you remind me like Dave Grohl. That energy that you have up on stage reminds me of him.
To be honest with you, Russ, you're probably like you're not the first person to tell me that.
Yeah.
And I think like, man,
it has to do with the
called
big body.
Nice guy. Like I get called like the nice guy too all the time of like bands. Like a lot of people that only know like the music community people that know of the community will know through me, and they're just like, well, you're fucking. I try to bring kind of Dave Grohl energy to everything. I try to bring good positive. Let's fucking do it, dude. Let's all out. All or no. I love him as a performer too. He's fucking great, dude. Watched him Bonnaroo last summer. Chef's kiss, baby.
Yeah.
One of the best in the goddamn business for a reason.
Let's get back to Whiskey Angel. We'll get back to some of that stuff too. Because I'm the Whiskey Angel thing to me is like, I didn't know of you guys, and that's me just being, I don't know if I just wasn't in tune to a lot of local bands at the current time. Because yes, I was in a hardcore band at the time, Taken Under, and we played here every once in a while at the Coup, but we didn't want to burn ourselves out.
Yeah.
So we were playing we did play out a lot. We were playing, like Nashville, Cincy, all these different areas, So I was, I guess, like I said, not in tune with the local bands, which suck because I should have been. As a person booking shows,
Right. You want to make sure you're on that edge.
And I was booking like the Kron. I booked Dusty's band, My Friend the Ghost.
Shit.
Yeah. And My Friend the Ghost, I booked them because I booked A Lost for Words.
Shout out My Friend the Ghost.
Dude, My Friend the Ghost.
One of the best Clarksville bands ever. Loved them.
They were, Dusty, real quick. Whatever he touches is gold.
Yeah, it's really good.
Because he puts everything into it.
Yeah,
even his quote unquote country thing he did was good too,
Right, I got you. Dude, my favorite thing he's done in years is Fuzz Ripper.
Yeah. Oh,
Fuzz
fuck
Ripper
yeah. And that's been a baby of his for a good while,
It rules. I still love that band.
So, Whiskey Angel.
Okay.
You guys played the last Rivers and Spires, yes?
Yeah, we did.
And after that did you guys, I know you guys play the Possum Stock and you play Tour de Ville. After that last River Spires, did you guys play out a lot often after that?
Okay, so not really. Well, here's a little crash course on it. The Coup closed 14.
Yeah.
We kept, I started working for Jason and Patty Yates, Wicked Good Sandwiches. Yeah. And I that same year that the Coup closed is the first year I started Possum.
Okay.
So Possum kind of,
and you started that because
the Coup was closing essentially. Well, I say that yes and no. It just kind of it timed out that way. Summer of 2012 and 2013, I did an event. It was called Woodstock Reborn. I didn't name it. These two young chicks wanted to throw a party, and I did all the music for it. It was out in Cheatham County on the yeah. You might have.
No, I didn't go.
It was 2 days.
Yeah.
The first 2012 was 1 day.
But I knew it. I heard about it.
We had 400 people come. Because all kinds of redneck. We made it free, so all kinds of fucking people came.
If anything's free, people come.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we were all kids too. But then the next year they were like, we want to do it again. And the girls were like, can we do a whole weekend? And they asked the property owners, their mom, Angie, and Angie was like, yeah, if Cody's willing to do it. And I was like, I told Zach and them, because at this point we were like integrated into the Coup. Like we were in that scene. Hard. And I told Zach, and I was like, yo, we got this fucking property where we did this thing last year. We can play for like 2 days. So Zach was like, hell yeah, let's run it. I got the PA. Let's fucking run it. I was like, all right. So we did it again, and it was like, it became like one of our scene parties, And then the next year, the Coup closed. And John Suter from 12 Gauge Gospel, John Suter came to me and he's like, hey, dude. He's like, if you need a place to do a show, he's like, my family has a go-kart track out in Palmyra. I was like, really?
A go-kart track?
Really sleazy. Jay Sleazy is his nickname. I was like, really, Jay Sleazy? He's like, yeah. You want to meet me out there? I'll show it to you. I said, fuck yeah. So we go out there, and I get out there, and it's off Possum Holler Road.
Oh, trust me, I have stories about that road.
And he looks around, and he's like, what do you think? And I was like, I think we got a fucking spot, baby. Yeah. I said, I guess we're going to do our big party this summer. And he was like, well, what do you think? What are we going to call it? And I was like, man, Steven Shriver was with us too. Steven was like my partner doing a bunch of it with me. And Steven was like, let's just call it Possum Stock. And I was like, all right, let's fucking do it. And Possum Stock was kind of like the thing that kept Whiskey Angel rolling for years. Because like we had the house shows. We played the Warehouse a little bit. There wasn't much of a Clarksville scene until... There wasn't much of a local like venue scene that was all ages at all until Wicked Good got back open, and that was in like 16.
Yeah.
And we went through a lot of motions. Ian had kids. We all grew up a bit. Then we changed. Mark left.
Yeah.
We changed drummers. We got Kirk instead. Like years went by, passed in 2019. Halloween 2018, we released our second record. We had a lot of plans to play out all of 2019, and the band started to disintegrate. And at that time, I had a guy fill in Ian's shoes because Ian couldn't play a bunch.
I remember that,
Jacob
yeah.
Marcus.
Yep, I remember that.
And luckily, when Ian stepped back in, it was just like, well, Jacob plays saxophone, so Jacob can stay, and Ian's back now.
I remember when Ian, when he had to step away, and he went and saw you guys perform for the first time. He said it's a weird feel. It was like weird to see. That's your band, and it's kind of similar to me when I see Mark and Jason play with Nero Vatra. And I'm just like, I'm not up there.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah,
it was very odd, and that was like.
Now, Jacob, the saxophone player, that's the one that was
sick too.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
How's he doing?
He's back home. He's getting back. He's slowly but surely he's building back up.
I've seen him play. He's pretty rocking.
He's a bad motherfucker, man. But then slowly, man, that summer, Jacob was going on tour. Ian came back in, but that's when Jake Denning came out. Denning was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I love you guys, but I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. So I said, we were scheduled to play Father's Day at and Vinyl for their they do like Sunday night series like once a month.
Yeah. I remember when they were doing that for a while. Yeah.
And we did the Father's Day one. Whiskey Angel did.
Actually, I believe I was at that one. I think that's the only one I did go to.
It was like the tone.
Yeah.
We did the little. We played like tiny amps. Yeah. It was cool. But that was Denning's last show, and I really wanted him. I asked him too. I was like, "Will you play Possum?" And he was like real iffy about it and wish-washy about it. And then when the time came, he was like, "Oh, I'll play." I was like, "Yeah, of course." But we played Possum that year, and we played.
Which Possum was that?
That was Possum 2019. There's been so many.
I've taken her played 17.
17, the Gracie one. Yep. That was a wild one too.
Yeah, it rained real bad, and it was a mud fest.
Yep, not as bad as the 16 one. Good God, but. We played 19 Possum and we played 19 Bob, and that was like the real fucking to us, honestly though, the Warehouse farewell show was like the farewell Whiskey Angel show. We did that benefit for Jake, but because Jacob's one of us, that's why we played that. But really, like the almost letting the project and saying goodbye to the project was pretty much the Warehouse show. So it's because like the Warehouse was closing, it was like the end of a whole era because Whiskey Angel. It's
kind of like you started and you end. Yeah,
we weren't together when that show happened, and that's when Mike was like, "Hey, we're going to do this. Can Whiskey Angel play?" And I was like, "Probably so for this." And I brought it up to all the guys because Kirk's dad was Kent Sumner, played with Mystery.
Yep.
Fucking Ian's dad's James. My dad was Darby, was friends with Mike. So it was like a bunch of his friends. It was full circle.
Yeah.
That's why we were one of the bands. And Mike always loved us because like a classic rock guy anyway.
Yeah.
So he was like, he fucking loved our music. He was like, "No, you guys got to play." So that we came in and that was like the last time we got together and like huddled. It was like really. We played Revel earlier that year for the 3rd year anniversary for Dawn.
Yeah.
Because Whiskey Angel now, people even ask now. Sometimes they'll hit me up and they're like, "Bro, when Whiskey Angel set?" And I was like, "Unless you got a lot of money, bro." I know we'll all go do it for some money, but like otherwise, probably not. But that Warehouse show was kind of like. That almost felt like the sweet goodbye in a lot of ways for it. That show felt amazing, too, because we had 45-minute sets on that show.
Yeah.
Dusty played right before me, and Dusty came up to me like that night and was like, "Hey, I have like a 25-minute set." And I said, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm cutting it back. I'm cutting some out." He's like, "That means..."
Did he open that show?
They were like second.
Yeah.
No, Driving Savannah opened, I think.
Yeah.
Savannah, then Swamp Fox.
Yeah, I got there right when Swamp Fox started.
Right. And they played like a short set.
Yeah.
And I remember I was Dusty. I was like, "Can we just go?" And he's like, "Run it."
Yeah.
So I looked at the boys and I was like, "Yo, we got an hour and 5." And we're like, "All right, run it." So we got up there and we played every.
Yeah.
There's a couple we didn't play, but we played a fat set.
Yeah.
And I remember asking too. I was like, "Can I? Does that mean we get to play longer?" And everyone's like, "Yeah." And I was "Fucking hell yeah, let's run it."
Don't tell Cody Parson he gets to play extra.
Yeah, I was like, "Shut up! I got plenty of songs I can play. Tough." So yeah, that was one. And dude, the energy from that show, Russ.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Fucking insane, dude. You could tell with everybody Everybody feeling it. Fucking Chris, dude. Chris coming to me. He coming to me all sweaty, all stroked out at the end. He was like, I fucking love you. I love you too, August Christopher.
Yeah,
Chris Cheatham's a crazy bastard.
Dude, I remember watching that band back in the day, man. And apparently they played here recently somewhere. I can't in Nashville somewhere, but
all
yeah,
the time. Dude.
Yeah,
He don't stop. Chris Cheatham don't stop.
No. So at this point, then the Angel is retired, or would you just say a hiatus?
Well, we always just say hiatus. You know.
Yeah, because I mean, technically, you guys have been, all of y'all have been in the same room several different times.
Multiple times.
Because your bands have all played together.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that being said, Whiskey Angel is in the closet for right now.
Exactly.
And that now there's other bands that have spawned off of Whiskey Angel.
Yeah, now it's a whole thing because like there's all these Whiskey Angel spawn bands now. Now Captain Molasses is a Whiskey Angel spawn band.
Yeah.
I'm always like, God, dude.
And you got technically two of them. Or maybe three or maybe four.
They're all. Everyone just considers anything with me as a Whiskey Angel spawn band because it's me. So like, well, to be real with you, that was kind of the weird differentiation too. Whiskey Angel only imploded so hard that summer in 19 because I started another band, and they all
because everybody was missing the whiskey.
Well, everyone voiced it to me. They're like, "Well, you already have another band now," and I was like, "Oh, does it hurt your fucking feelings? Like, come fuck on." But with me, it always does. Everybody gets fucking hurt. Their feelings hurt.
What were you? What band was that at the time?
That was the Yonders. It lasted for almost 2 years. We played the pub's benefit. That was our last show. That was the Yonders' last show. Because Connor and I butted heads a lot. Connor was the other frontman. That was my first dual frontman band. I wanted to have two singers and have the whole thing. And dude, I love Connor to this day. We are still boys because we didn't keep trying to make that band work. Because if we would have, we would have fucking killed each other.
I stopped in that evening. I believe I did. I didn't know you were playing. Whiskey play that? No. Okay. No. I remember I stopped in and it was a good turnout.
Yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night. It's a good warehouse show.
So that was the band you started after or during the end of it? Yeah.
During the end of Angel, because everybody was being wishy-washy as shit with me, and I got tired of it. Like everybody kept bullshitting me about everything, and I'm like, I hustled too hard to be real, Russ. Like, and this is why I started Cody Parson, the Heavy Change, because I work too fucking hard to be held back by any other motherfucker, dude. Straight up, like. And after years of it, like years of missing shows and opportunities, when I'm the motherfucker staying up all night, like networking with people, doing all the hard shit stuff that no one else wants to do. No, bro. I got over it.
I say this often. I say this more than often to people, but you are a huge fucking reason why a lot of this shit happens in this town.
I appreciate it.
You bust your ass. Where are you never not somewhere? You know what I'm saying? You're always working your ass off with this, you know?
I'm always trying to be out there all the time, even with like open mic and stuff.
Is that something that you came up with?
Dude, okay, so not really. So Rufus was hosting open mic.
Yeah, okay.
Rufus was hosting open mic in the Gilroy days.
Yeah.
They started like a consistent one because really the long-standing one in my book, and I know you'll say the same thing, was the Brunies one.
Yeah. Oh.
That was the one for
everybody knew about Brunies, yeah.
Exactly. That was the one for years and years.
Did you ever play there?
I did not. It was a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
I was out of town doing a lot of stuff at that point.
Gotcha.
I met Thomas Yates and some of those people back from that scene, Nick Riley, all those guys. But I was never really around for it.
Gotcha.
When Brunies got redone and got turned into the Alley, but back before Strawberry Ale and all that shit, I worked there.
And then it was the guy. Oh shit! What was it right before the Alley or after the Alley? It was a beer spot, like a beer and food thing. Anyway,
well, the Alley was a beer and food thing.
Yeah.
So it was just the same shit.
Yeah.
But Sam did a little. Like, I never knew about a consistent open mic in town.
Hops Road.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Okay.
A few years later, until Rufus started doing it regularly at the Gilroy, and when Dawn took the Gilroy from Randy, bought the business, started Rebel, and like changed things, she wanted to keep the consistent open mic. And her original host, I believe, was Evan, Outlaw G. He's like the spoken word dude.
I know him.
Yeah, Evan was because when she started Rebel, she brought me in too. I was working around then. I had an ABC license and shit. And she was like, "Yo, you're the music guy already. Come in." So I've been with Dawn at Rebel since the beginning.
Yeah.
And Evan was our open mic guy, and I was about it because I was bartending open mic at that point because I was like the music guy. And then in the midst of COVID the next year, 2020, that first year Dawn was open.
Let's say.
everything shut down, and Evan moved. And he was like, yo, I'm moving. And Dawn was like, can you do it? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. So now I've been hosting open mic now since summer of 2020.
So 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. I've been doing it for a while.
Hell yeah, man.
And that's now we keep like a back line. So anytime I meat new young bands, they're like, hey, man, we got a band. I was like, you want to get booked? Come here on a Tuesday night and play for me. Let me see what you can do.
Do you ever do anything open mic?
Do you ever play?
Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on the night.
Gotcha.
If I walk in that motherfucker and there's like 25 signups, you bet your ass I'm not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Because I do not want to be in there all night. And there's nights I get there at 7 and I don't leave till 1.
And you work all day too. That's why I say, man. That's why I said you invest your time so much with the scene. That's awesome.
Well, to be real with you, like, and this can be like my public coming out about all this. This year's changing all now.
Yeah.
I have to. I'm getting too old to invest a lot of this time and stuff now. Like, I realized in the last couple of years, Russ, a lot of, and this may be like a weird truth to come from, or kind of like a transparent thing to come out about, but I started questioning like the reasons I do a lot of the things I've done and why I've done them over the years, and like what has been my long-term goal, and is me being this person and being this guy that in our community really contributed to that. Is it building towards like what I want for my life, or is it building towards something that I've always just kind of felt like a moral obligation to do? And the truth is, the last few years, like, I've put a lot of effort into a lot of things. After the Yonders kind of started to disintegrate, I mentioned I started my solo thing. I started Cody Parson and the Heavy Change, and it was because a lot of the musicians that I had met over the years and networked with, and musicians that I'm friends with now, like I had 3 fucking friends play Bonnaroo this year. Like, a lot of people that like are starting to make waves, and I've seen for 10 years in this industry. Like, I've been in long enough to be like, nothing's changing for me. And
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. You need to focus on you and putting all the effort that you've been doing this stuff into Cody Parson.
Exactly. And that's where I've really found, like, and this may sound kind of odd, but the last couple years, man, I've kind of overstayed my welcome in everything. When I noticed I got to the point where a new generation of kids were coming in and looking at me like I was the problem. Like I'm the gatekeeper. I'm the bad guy, and it's not necessarily because it's true, but it's the natural order of things. And to be honest with you, like, I had always really hoped and prayed that somebody else in our community would start to step up a bit and like maybe come under my wing a little bit and be like, yo, somebody step up and be like, yo, this stuff matters to me. I care about doing this. Like, but to be honest with you, I think a big part of that never happening has just been the fact that I've never stepped away.
And you've always wanted to do it. Yeah.
I've always been the dude that's just like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I'd say it's getting older, man. Just getting older, and now, priorities shifting and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a pause for a second.
Okay.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. So the Cody Parson and the Heavy Change. Let's talk about that now. Where did this? So this came out because whiskey was fizzled out. You did this. Well, you did the Yonders. Yeah. Okay. What made you want to start THC?
Okay, so the Yonders was originally going to be similar to Whiskey Angel as far as musically, but it was dual frontman. It was me and another songwriter. So we wrote everything together. We'd sing everything together. We'd all sing different parts.
It's good.
Would sing choruses. It was fun too.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about singing the whole
all the time. But the other side of it was I became like the lead guitar player because he come from Christian rock background. He grew up in church. Connor's a phenomenal singer. But I was the stronger guitar player of the two of us. Right. So it was like I had to play lead just because like I could a lot of times, So in a lot of ways, I like brought those chops back out a little bit. And the thing about Whiskey Angel that was always kind of like special about Whiskey Angel too is people knew that like I also would play. Me and Ian would play like dual lead guitar sometimes. Yeah. And I would play solos. He would play. We were like a jammy band, so it was stuff like that. Very My Morning Jacket-esque. But The Yonders was me and Connor's kind of attempt to do the dual thing.
Okay.
And it didn't work out. We disagreed on a couple of fundamental things here and there, and we realized we're like, yo, we can keep trying to force this, or we can just be like, we're boys. Let's just put this on the back burner.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with the Yonders. We said, all right, we're not going to do it. But the day that we had made that decision, I had, over the course, after COVID and that first like little bit of things starting to come back out, I went out to Nashville a lot.
All right.
I went and seen a lot of bands that I like really loved, and a lot of people I hadn't seen through that whole thing. Because like, the whole world pandemic is like, you could take whole episodes of how musicians alone felt about that. But coming out of it, I kind of seen things as like, this is the chance for me to like this is the chance for everything to restart.
Yeah.
This is the chance for like the real wave back. Like when everything comes back, and out the get-go, I was like, I'm trying to be fucking caught in that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying to come out guns blazing. Like, no, I'm fucking, here I am. This is me. And I was still, all through 20, it was still really uncertain. Everything was still uncertain until early 21.
Okay.
When things started slowly trickling back open. So when all the stuff with the pub happened,
yeah,
and that's when we had the last Yonder show. And I had been told through my rekindling and my coming back out into the scene for a couple of years, a couple different people had stopped me. Some really good musicians I knew. Northeast to Freeze stopped me in Nashville once. I went and seen him, and he and I were sitting outside, and he was asking me, he's like, what do you got going on? And I told him, I was like, oh, you know, Whiskey Angel's pretty much done. I got this kind of new thing, the Yonders, going. It's me and this other guy. And Freeze was like, well, are you still writing? Like, I was like, well, fuck yeah, duh. And he goes, well, like, what are you writing? And I said, honestly, man, what Whiskey Angel was is just like the music I've always naturally made.
Yeah.
And then Freeze was like, well, why are you going to stop then? And I said, that's a good point. I probably don't need to. And he's like, I think you need to embrace being Cody Parson. He's like, I think we're too close to Nashville. You have too many people that love and care about you and care and support you. He's like, you can do everything under your name. He's like, and you'll find people. He's like, and the drive you have, and he kind of sold it to me that way. And I had kind of joked to Ian back in like 16 or 17 is when I first came up with the name, because I'm a long-standing Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers simp, bro. Tom Petty is my fucking god.
Yeah.
So that's where the concept came from.
Okay. Cody Parson, yeah.
That's where the whole concept came from. So I was like, well, I need to have something that, what do I ever do if I have a band that's me and a band?
Yeah.
How am I going to spin that off? And I was like, well, the concept, the heavy change, I was like, if I change members, it won't matter because it's Cody Parson and the heavy change. If it changes, and then I was like, wait, Cody Parson and THC. I was like,
hey.
Holy fuck. I was like, this is it. And I told Ian years ago, I was like, if I ever go solo, brother, Cody Parson and the heavy change. And he was like, that's cool. And then I was like, Cody Parson, THC. And he was like, that's really cool. I was like, yeah, fuck you.
So, the heavy change, where did that actually come from, that name, that part? That heavy change.
Because what I just like cried to you about earlier, I had lost so many opportunities over the years over one person not wanting to take the steps. And if the band changes, I don't.
Yeah. I heard
that's where the whole thing came from. And like I said, when I was like THC, I was like, I was like, this is perfect. Cody Parson, CP, and THC. I was like, I got motifs in the design for this shirt that I got for you.
That's a great shirt,
dude. That design has been in my concept since we released the first Whiskey Angel record. I came out and was like, I want the Tennessee flag with white fucking pot leaves instead of stars. It could be the baddest fucking shirt we ever do. We never did it. I've never let it go. Basically, man,
it's surprised that no one's done that yet.
Well, it's kind of been done. I got it. I didn't realize this had happened until afterwards. There is agency that advocates for medical marijuana in Tennessee. And that's their logo.
Gotcha.
Is the TriStar with the
But I mean, like a band, I've never seen a band out of Tennessee do that. I mean, I've seen Whitechapel in Knoxville. They do like the TriStar with the saw blade. And then I think we did the TriStar as well, but nothing fancy like that idea right there is a great.
Well, that's when I was like THC. To be honest, Russ, like all the shit I've worked at trying to do for years and that I wanted to do with Whiskey Angel, I just don't have to ask anybody else.
Because this is
exactly, and I'm learning. Like that's why my new single is "Sell It," because like
at the end of the day, if I have to get a different drummer to play next week, that's fine.
Currently, who is in the band?
THC. The story of THC is kind of funny.
Okay.
I'll do that quick bullet too. The day we ended the Yonders, I made a post that was a picture of me playing, and I was like, hey, I'm publicly putting out now that I'm looking for musicians to do my solo thing. This is and I said, I say my solo thing because no one's about to step in this and like cost me anything else. Like, I will get rid of you. I'll cut you. Like, this is my band this time. Like, fuck everybody. This is mine now. Because a lot of times Whiskey Angel, I didn't try to do that. I'd always considered it really by the time Jake and Kirk were in the band, even though it was still very fucking half their band, really. Me and Ian were the two original members.
Yeah,
so to me, it was like me and Ian's band a lot of times.
Gotcha.
But I had never been like, this is how things are going to be, motherfuckers, until this band. And then I just say like, all right. But at the same token, it's a different artistic thing to where like, my band now is just like, hell yeah, boss, just run it. Just tell us where we need to be.
So you're basically, bring this name up again, you're basically doing a Dave Grohl thing where you're writing everything and then be like, all right, this is what in there.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I bring all the songs to him. I was really blessed when I did the Yonders. I pulled like arguably the best young drummer in Clarksville.
Yeah.
Josh Lanham, dude.
Okay.
Josh Lanham is a hell hopper of a drummer. And when I started the Yonders, I went to Connor and I said, hey, me and you on guitar and singing, and let's find some hell hopper rhythm section. Let's find some great young rhythm section, because Connor's a lot younger than me. I said, let's find some dudes your age or maybe a little older than you, and then me, and then we'll have the spread of all the demographics. We'll have all the different social circles. Everybody will come out, whatever. And I went to the Fanes. Do you know the Fanes, the two twins?
No.
They were in the Rumps. They were the rhythm section of the Rumps.
I knew the Rumps.
They were also Caleb is the front man of Nashville Front Disco.
Oh, yep.
Kanan is the front man of Heads Against a Flower. They're the two twins that are like ridiculously musically talented.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I went to them and I said, "Hey, are you guys interested in being in me and Connor's band? You guys interested in being my rhythms?" I was literally just gonna take the Rumps rhythm section because they're fucking great.
Yeah.
I was like, they're twins. I was like, let's do this. I told Connor, let's get the twins. We'll fucking make a Hellhopper band. And I go in, and Kanan, of the two of them, Kanan was like, "Fuck yeah, I am down." Caleb was like, I love you guys, but I don't have time for this right now.
Gotcha.
And then Kanan, after that got said, Kanan was like, well, bro, how about I play bass? And we get Josh Lanham, who is one of their best friends and in their circle.
Yeah.
It's like, and we get Josh Lanham to play drums. And I had known Josh from Wicked Good because Josh started playing in the Wicked Good era. And I had always been, I had known him since he was younger. He was a Montgomery Central kid. We're both from Montgomery Central.
Yeah.
All our families are intertwined. And Josh showed up for the Yonders and fucking killed it. Like, was phenomenal. Was really good. And then they both had school stuff come up, so they both fell back out of the Yonders, Kanan and Josh. And we got Kirk from Whiskey Angel.
Yeah.
We got Kirk to fill in on drums, and we got this other guy, Bryson, who's really good to play bass. Anyway, time passes forward, and then Kirk tries stepping back again. Josh hits me up, and he's like, hey, dude, I'm not playing that much right now. Like, I'm trying to play some. Does the Yonders, does Kirk, is Kirk still wanting to play with you guys? What's going on? And I said, Kirk's trying not to play so much. Do you want to jump back in? Lanham jumps back in. He's playing real hard. He's rehearsing with the Yonders all the time. And then the Yonders implode. And Lanham just looks at me and he's like, well, what's going on? Where are we playing? What's the next step? And I said, well, I'm going to start this solo thing. And he's like, well, sign me the fuck up, boss. So,
hell yeah.
And the day I made the post and I told people, I said, this is going to be like Tom Petty. I was like, I'm going to do shit separately. If you don't show up, you don't pull the weight, I'll find somebody else to play the parts. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Not taking it. My whole goal with putting the ad out was basically like, don't be in my DMs about this if you can't play all the time, because I'm about to fucking play all the time. And don't get pissed off and upset when you can't play and I still play.
Yeah.
So that was really because that happened a lot throughout the years with my brother, with everybody. Everybody get pissy with me because I've always been like, no, bro, fuck everything else. Let's run it. It's about the band.
That is one thing about, being in a band. One, it's a relationship, and it really does suck when one person can't do something, especially when it's a key person that you need to play the show.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, even at this point, if you couldn't find a drummer, you can just go and do it yourself, yeah?
That's the best part.
Yeah.
Like, worst comes to worst, I can go play an acoustic set by myself.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality I started taking with it. Is Freeze and a couple other people. Freeze looked at me at Bonnaroo, or it was at a house show in 21. He looked at me and he was like, "Man, he's like, you got to quit letting anybody else stop you." And I was like, that's the realest shit anybody's ever told me.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea came from. I was like, I'll start this band with this concept, and if I fucking take care of my people and I get good people and I fucking like be on my shit, I can keep a good band.
Yeah.
I have 3 different drummers right now. I still have Lanham. Lanham just had his baby yesterday, so he's a firefighter now too. So
okay.
He does all my studio stuff still though. He goes in the studio with me and fucking hammers shit out. This summer's the first summer he's not been able to do a lot of live stuff. But I got Spencer Evans still playing for THC sometimes too. He plays in Toxic Patterns.
He does play with THC? Okay.
He fills in for me a lot.
He's a really good drummer.
You know, Darius is killer. He plays this too. So I got some guys to switch around. But the day I made the post, a pair of musicians hit me up.
All right.
A pair that I had been seeing play together since we started. The very first Rivers and Spires Whiskey Angel show. Or the very first Riverfest Whiskey Angel show back in 2011. We went down and got Taco Bell. And we ran our asses off from Taco Bell all the way back up to the ramp to get there in time for Whiskey Angel to play at 11. While we're running, me and Ian look over at one of the stages, and this band from Dixon called Backroad Brigade is playing.
Yeah.
And they're playing fucking Rackin' Church songs. And I was like, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah.
So that was the first time I seen Matt and Dalton. And over the years, Matt and Dalton have still played bands. I put them on Possum Stock a couple times. Then they changed their band around and called it Stray Nova and changed things around. And it was all their original shit. And
wait, that's who was in Stray Nova.
That's who THC is.
Okay.
So Matt, I think Dalton's the one that commented on my stuff, and he was like, "Hey," he's like, because I was literally like, I'm trying to fucking do a heavier Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That's like the dynamic I'm going for. That's the angle. That's the whole thing I'm going for with this project. And literally, Matt DM me, and he's like, "I'll be your Mike Campbell, baby." And I was like, "Say fucking less."
Hell yeah.
And dude, because him and Dalton have been best friends since they were in the first grade.
Wow.
And they've played music together since they're
since they started playing.
Since they started playing, and they're phenomenally tight and good together.
Hell yeah.
So the moment that they were like, "Hey, you need a bass player and a lead guitar player," I was like, fuck yeah,
hell
I do."
Yeah.
So we got together, and I told him, I was like, Lanham is my drummer, and he played we practiced twice with him, and they literally looked at him and they're like, "Can you play drums in Stray Nova?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll play for you guys for a show or two." And then of course, it was like, "Well, you got to be the drummer of Stray Nova now," because we became Josh's tightest band. THC's been the band he's been in the longest.
Wow.
Because he was in I brought him into being in Stray Nova basically.
Yeah.
And then when they brought him in, it just THC became me with Stray Nova.
Basically, yeah.
So we were always fucking tight as fuck, and I had a Hellhopper band ready to fuck somebody up anytime I needed it.
So basically, you just took in that band. Now are they still a band?
Oh yeah, they took in. Well, like I said, Josh has kind of paused on all of us because he had a baby and he's a firefighter and shit now. But yeah, they've cut stuff too, and they do a lot of cover gigs and stuff. It's mainly their kind of bag. But all the original shit, we're all still we're a little tribe, man. We've been THC's been together 3 years now. So
how many singles you have out?
3 singles, 1 EP. I'm releasing a new single this weekend, and I have 8 singles in the chamber, baby. To be real with you, Russ, I'm ready to push harder than I ever have.
What came out last week?
It's not out yet. Exactly. No, you could. It's out. Well, by the time people hear this, you're right though.
So tell me about the video.
My good friend June Espinoza shot it. June has shot a lot of people in our community now. He popped up in the open mic scene at Revel a couple years ago. He's an ex-soldier. He got out of the military and went straight to film school in Nashville and started filming all kinds of stuff. He and I filmed a little podcast together all last year called Start Here. And it was interviews and musical stories of people. I told him forever, I was like, "Hey, I got this whole new set of songs," because I put a good lull, because I released, I think my last thing was last October, and then I was like, well, it's going to be a while before we release anything.
Which single was that?
The EP, Songs in Cursive.
EP. Okay, yeah.
So it was 3 or 4 songs out back then. But I said, well, it's going to be a minute before we release some more singles. I had them, but then we got things together, and we had we got the new location for Possum last year. To be honest, Russ, it almost feels like everything in the past 10 years has culminated to what's been happening this year.
Yeah, all worked up to it, man.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the pieces of the puzzle have all come together for you.
Exactly. To a little background, and this is the first time I've publicly acknowledged this. Well, I say it, but I made one status about it. On January 1st, a lot of things came to light in my life that had been hidden from me for a very long time, and it kind of started an entire chain reaction that's been my year this year, and I got like some of the heaviest news I've ever gotten. In the first weekend of the year, I was scheduled to go to the studio, and I felt really, really betrayed, and I was really, really hurt. I was really fucking, like, I went some really heavy stuff. I won't go into too much detail, but I had the hardest thing happen to me than anything had happened in, like, years, probably since my father died, like, 11 years ago.
Okay.
And it caused me, in kind of a artistic outburst, I rewrote a bunch of my songs. And I was scheduled to go in that weekend and cut them with THC that first weekend of the year.
We wrote as in lyrics, or we wrote as in the music?
Lyrics.
Okay.
So music, I had been practicing and running with these motherfuckers for we played some of these songs last year at Possum.
Gotcha.
We played them the last year, but I hadn't recorded them yet. And I came in, I told the guys everything that had happened, because there was a lot of stuff in my personal life. And I said, I want to cut all these songs with you, because I cut live. So we went in and we did a weekend. We did that first weekend of the year this year, and I cut 5 songs in one day. And we did all the tracking. We did everything straight through. And I sat down that night and I rewrote 3 of the songs lyrically. And I proceeded the next morning. I cut vocal tracks and we overdubbed leads. And like I came out of that one weekend session with 5 done songs.
Wow.
And they were all like some of the best music I'd ever wrote. And that was the beginning of this year. And I've taken all the time I've really needed these months to try and cultivate everything together and get all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
So I can really start pushing a lot of these now. Because I went from 5 now to 8. And I have 4 more.
And none of this is out.
None of this is out.
Okay.
I'm working harder than I ever have. Because now, man, I spent a decade learning how to do this. And now I'm about to fucking try harder than I ever have.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm about to call every favor I have in. You called it. Look at you, my
shit,
bad,
dude.
man.
Almost ate shit there. Sorry.
No,
Didn't mean to ruin your story. Go ahead.
So I went in, I cut it, and kind of everything since that really major event that's happened this year has been people I see. I work with Richard from Mass Hatred. I work 3 jobs. I've been working like 70 hours a week for like the past year, but it's all been it's not going to be in vain.
Yeah.
I've been biding my time for a minute now, man. It's the 10-year anniversary of Possum Stock. I'm about to drop this single. I'm about to be more pushed than I've ever been in a lot of places. I got more shit going on than I've ever had. So like, I feel great. I feel in a better place than I ever have musically.
Hell yeah, man.
I have always been a band guy, man, but I work in the festival circuit this summer, so I've been going to all these events, and I went to EDC Vegas back in May.
How the fuck was that?
It changed my life entirely. I had never seen a production that large. I had never seen so many things going on at once. Like, we're talking 8 stages with like huge production at every one.
Where in Vegas is that located?
It's the Vegas Motor Speedway.
Okay.
They do it down in the bowl.
It's not in the same location where they do We Are Young Fest.
No.
Okay.
No, We're Young. I'm going to We Are Young too. I'm working We Are Young.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I had never really. We mentioned Possum. I'm a fest guy. Like I run a festival, and this year's like a 10-year anniversary. But I'd never really deep dove into the rave culture or that side of things ever, because I've never really been hard into EDM. Mm. And EDC is the biggest rave in North America.
Yep.
And I wish it is every reason in the world why you should reach out. You should step out of your comfort level. And if I can recommend anything to anyone listening, if I have one piece of advice to you, do what makes you uncomfortable, for the love of God. Like, if you'd have told Cody in 2014 that, 33-year-old you's going to go out to Vegas to the biggest rave in the world, I'd have called you full of shit. I'd have been like, hell no, you ain't catch me dead at that shit. What are you talking about? No, dude, it changed my life. I met lots of amazing people and had an experience I'll never forget. And it was like,
what made you go?
I worked it.
Oh. What were you doing then?
I'll tell you my hustle with this stuff.
Yeah, go ahead. Everybody has work.
Everyone's got the hustles. My friend Sean, he owns a hot dog company out of Nashville called Daddy's Dogs.
Yeah.
Sean was El King's tour manager and a couple pretty big emo bands tour managers, so he come from that world. And then he's like, I'm going to do this hot dog thing. But because he comes from the music world, he was like, well, I'm fucking going to be the main hot dog dude at every big music festival and event I can be. I'm going to be the hot dog guy of music. So that's kind of the angle he's going at. And to be honest with you, like, you see us at more fucking festivals than you see any other hot dog vendor in America.
So you were there. You were at EDC selling hot dogs.
Yes. I originally was supposed to be at Hangout, and then Hangout Fest undersold their tickets.
Oh, wow.
They had a lot smaller ticket margin than they thought they were going to have. So they suspended a bunch of the contracts with the vendors.
Gotcha.
They reserved the right to do it if they had to. And we got suspended. And I was like, oh, damn, I'd already taken the time off. We moved Tour de Ville over it because it was that middle weekend of May. I was like, me and G were like, well, let's move it to the last weekend. But we moved Tour de Ville weekend because I originally said it was the 18th. But I was like, well, I'm going to go out of town and work now. So we moved it, and Teresa, the lady from Lippy, contacted my boss Tony, and she said, "Hey man, like I know we can't do Hangout for you this year, but I do have an alternative if you can make it work." And Tony said, "What is it?" And he says, "EDC Vegas." And we're like, "God, Vegas, man, we gotta fly from Nashville. How are we gonna do this?" And Sean told Tony, he's like, "Man, you gotta get like you and a couple other people that you know can like make this happen." And, dude, I left Nashville on a Wednesday morning. I rolled up in Vegas at 9 a.m. And, bro, I fucking worked 18-hour days for fucking like 5 days straight.
Wow.
And we killed it.
It's that long of a fucking fest?
Oh, dude. No, we had to prep.
Oh,
I had to get out there and buy a grill.
I was going to say, you had to buy all that
fryer,
shit.
Everything.
And then just leave it behind?
Well, we have a storage unit. And we have like everything put up in that.
For next year?
No, for when you were young.
Oh, yeah, when we were young.
So
then if you
that's
guys...
our West Coast.
If you're doing when we were young, are you going to do... I think there's Spirit World, which is like the...
To be real with you, that's then the other side of them bringing me in this year.
Yeah.
Because, like, guess who wound up meeting the production manager of Bonnaroo? Me.
Oh, yeah.
Guess who's the motherfucker that's willing to go and talk to everybody and mingle with everybody?
You.
Me. And that's what Sean said coming in. He was like, bro, I need somebody like you in this.
Yeah.
I was like, well, shit.
Like
Give me the right stuff, and I'll go talk to whoever. Well, guess who made 100 hot dogs for Post Malone, bro? That's the game, dude. We got in with Marcus King, Elko. We've fed fucking so many different artists. Shaq. I mean, you name it. We've fed everybody.
Did he play
hot
EDC?
Dogs, bro. He
Shaq?
played. He did play EDC.
Yeah.
And he played Bonnaroo last summer.
Yeah.
So now, like, I've gotten in the mix.
That's
and I
cool,
went
man.
to fucking Vegas on hot dogs, bro. Went to Caesar's Palace and ate at Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen because of fucking hot dogs, bro. Didn't pay a fucking dime, bro, because of hot dogs. I left EDC in Vegas making money.
Off
I
of
spent
hot dogs.
for the whole trip. I maybe was out maybe $150, $200. I bought weed.
Did you guys camp out? Oh yeah.
I bought
It's
fucking
Vegas.
weed, bro.
It's Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I bought weed. That's where my money was spent.
Did you guys camp out there?
No, we had an Airbnb. It's dude, camping out at EDC is a thing. Like they have a camp area and stuff. But I don't want to camp in Vegas, bro. Vegas sucks weather-wise. I gotta go out there in the fucking desert.
Yep.
No, I'm not trying to camp in that.
I've been there twice to Vegas.
I had a really special thing happen though, Russ.
All right.
I'll kind of quick bullet this one. I did the whole rave thing. I was there for the weekend. I'll be real. There was a lot of things, a lot of drugs I've never done.
A lot of drugs?
A lot of drugs I'd never done in the scene here, in the music scenes, that I did in Vegas because I was in Vegas.
It's Vegas.
And I was like, well, it's Vegas.
You're at EDC.
And exactly. I'm in the biggest rave in America. So all these things kind of lined up. And I was like, well, when in Rome, I'm going to try this.
For sure.
And, dude, I because all this stuff in my personal life was kind of like falling apart. My 10-year relationship ended this year, and it's like a lot of things have kind of. I met a bunch of strangers, and sure enough, dude, Saturday night, I'm kind of minding my business, doing my thing, and this girl comes up out of a crowd of 150,000 people and sits next to me, and she was like, "Hi," and I was like, "What's up?" And she was wearing I'm a huge nerd for the record. Like I'm a fucking huge nerd.
All right.
And she's like decked out in all Pokemon like rave attire, and she breaks out like a Mew fucking Coke spoon, and I'm just like, who is this goddess? What is this?
Yeah.
And dude, I proceeded to spend the rest of my weekend with her.
Okay.
She's from Denver. Why do you think I brought up Denver?
Oh, okay.
No, dude, it was wild. It was very much a first experience, and I was like, oh, I'm going to the biggest rave in the world for my first rave. And of course, people are like, oh, bro, what if you find a rave bay? Fucking course I did.
Yeah. Did she go to Bonnaroo?
She did not.
Oh.
I tried. I promise I tried. Don't think your boy wasn't like, baby, you need a plane ticket, you need a ticket, what do you need?
Just come sell some hot dogs.
Come with me, baby. But no, she's cool. She's doing her own thing.
Is that so she was like decked out in Pokemon, so when you were at Bonnaroo, you also
I went that route.
Yeah.
Well, I learned about going to EDC. I'd never known, like I said, there's a lot of things about the rave culture I was completely out about. I had never known about Plur, the peace, love, unity, respect mantra, and I didn't know about candy and accessorizing and all this crazy. Like half the people at EDC were dressed up as video game characters.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this. This is my people.
Yeah.
I was like, you mean to tell me we can have a music festival where everybody does this? I was like, shut the fuck up. This is sick.
Yeah.
And I went around and I was like trading fucking stuff with people and everyone's all cool to each other and on drugs. I was like, I'm home. This is the coolest thing I've ever fucking seen. And sure enough, dude, the girl I met was decked out and gave me my first Pokemon candy and like gave me a huge Pikachu necklace and like all this shit.
Hell yeah.
And showed me, and I listened to all these DJs for the first time. I checked out Fisher, Wookie, fucking Subtronics, and then I found my favorite DJ of all these people, Alice in Wonderland, because I'm obsessed with her.
That's
She's
old
Australian.
school.
She's
That's
so
old
hot.
school, yeah,
dude,
yeah.
she rules. She's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
queen, dude. She's the queen.
Yeah.
But
She's been around for a while.
yeah, she's been around for a minute.
Yeah.
But I fucking love her.
Yeah, that's good though,
And,
man.
dude, I did a bunch of these substances to her music at 3 o'clock in the morning and got to be at EDC when the giant owls came out and fucking everything's hallucinogens and fucking lasers. And it was crazy.
How does EDC work then? Because, the rave world is nighttime, right?
Right.
When does a headliner go on?
Like midnight.
Okay.
Okay, so your time frame at EDC is 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is when the last set ends and everybody gets pushed out and it's like dawn and all these fucking kids are scummy walking. These fucking kids going in.
I saw you post something. You were walking early in the morning. You're like, who? No one could ever told me I'd be doing fucking walking out of EDC at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And dude, the big sign, the last sign you see is "We're all welcome here." And I was just like,
hell yeah,
this is my fucking place. This was my people. I've never done this. Like it was awesome.
That's fucking cool though, man.
The same kind of community and unity like you want to see as a musician in your scene. Like,
I mean, I have heard that the electronic world, it is like that. And yes, it is because of the drug world, but
right.
I'd rather, you've seen some fucking crazy people on drugs, but a lot of it's all,
you see it at every kind of show.
But it's a lot more love and unity, And
it was that's all the stuff I seen. And like, to be honest, like it was a very beautiful thing to be like shown all this and like basically introduced to all this, like all these substances, these customs, these like cultures, all by like an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful woman that's into all the same shit you are, that you like meet magically in a sea of people like as strangers. It was all too perfect for me, man.
Cool,
That's why I came back and was like, all right, my life's changing. I was like, I got to change all this crazy stuff in my life. And I did. I started taking like huge drastic steps. I came back, left the pub. I ended things like once and for all with my partner. Like everything kind of just started changing. Yeah. And then I started making better moves musically and stuff too. So I feel like it's been a reset.
Sometimes we need that, Yeah. I think it's helpful, and like you go into EDC and experimenting with some things, and then your mind opens up and you get some more ideas. You met a girl, and she's kind of cute.
Yeah, she rave bait out, dude. It tore me up. It was a whole thing. Yeah. But I think being into like, I also got told by one of my close friends with this situation. He was like, man. He's like, you're only as tore up about this one because she's your first real nerdy one. Yeah. That's what it is, dude.
I didn't mean to say she's kind of cute. She is cute because that makes you sound like, she's all right. No, she's cute, man.
It's fine.
That's awesome, dude.
That's the best way to be about it. They're all kind of cute. Don't tell any of them they're too cute. Go to their head, just like it goes to ours.
Hell yeah, man. So what's next for you right now?
I guess the next big thing is I'm dropping singles all summer. Okay. I have some really cool stuff dropping next month with Lightning 100.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I have a lot. I told you, man.
Yeah,
I've tried to
that's pretty fucking cool.
I've put more things. I'm lining more things up now, Russ, than I ever have before, and I'm trying real hard.
I know Lightning 100. They do a lot of things at 3rd and Lindsley, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen some shows at 3rd and Lindsley. That's a pretty cool spot. It's actually it's right down the street from where the Muse used to be.
Right in the spots.
That's fucking awesome. Good to hear that, man.
trying to got a lot of good backing, trying to got a couple bigger artists on Possum, trying to get things like trying really hard to solidify things a little bit more and get things to the next level, man.
Possum is when?
September 6th and 7th.
Okay. Because I know it rotates. Who's some of the acts? You got anything special?
Freeze is coming back for the first time in like 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
He hasn't been back in a while. He's going to be one of our headliners. So is Sickard Hollow. They're like a huge, heady, jammy acoustic band.
Okay, all right.
They played with Billy Strings. They played with a bunch of people. They're on the bill. Flummox.
Okay, I've never seen them.
Okay.
I've heard fucking amazing things. I know a lot of people are into. I've seen videos. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're playing this weekend, right?
Yep,
and I'm not. I'll be out of town.
Yep.
And you're playing this weekend too. No. Yes.
Next week.
Next week.
I'm playing for the fireworks.
I'll be out of town.
Yep,
yeah. I'll be out of town. That sucks. But who else now? Go ahead.
We got. I'm doing Dylan, King Lazy Eye,
yeah,
the fucking TikTok guy. Dylan's playing. Dylan played a couple years ago at Possum. He's playing again this year.
Wow.
He's playing. I'm doing something special this year because it's the 10-year anniversary.
Okay.
So I'm doing something I've always talked about doing, but I never actually pulled the trigger on it. This year, it's happening. I'm doing Possum Jam.
Oh wow!
Possum Jam is just like Super Jam.
See, I never understood why you didn't do that. I always thought, because after whiskey would get done, what's the best time to do it with all these people there? You know.
Well, that's kind of my angle this year. We have a Cody Parson and the Heavy Change set. That's going to be Friday night. Saturday night is the Possum Jam set, and what it's going to be is a whole set of like banger covers everybody knows, and each song has a different guest on it.
Did you kind of get that idea from obviously there's an idea, but I know Bonnaroo does that as well.
That's where entirely where the idea comes from, because usually it's every year for Rue, it's somebody else that's on the lineup that curates it. Mm-hmm. So I've seen a bunch of them. My Morning Jacket, Jim James, the frontman of My Morning Jacket, had one, and then a couple years later, the rhythm section of My Morning Jacket, Tom and Patrick did a Tom Petty tribute. They did a Tom Petty Super Jam at Bonnaroo.
So that makes total sense then. Why last year my Morning Jacket played, or the year before last?
Last year.
Yeah, because you were on stage for that.
Yeah,
that all makes sense because of fucking hot dogs.
Yeah, dude, fucking hot dogs, bro. That was it, baby.
Apparently hot dogs make your life go around.
Dude, the funny thing was Sean teased me all weekend.
Yeah.
Because I was working my ass off for him, and he's like, well, when do you want off? And I said, man, I got to be off by like 3 o'clock Saturday. And he's like, okay, what's going on Saturday? And I was like, My Morning Jacket plays Saturday.
What time do they play at?
And that's what he said. He's like, when do they play? I said, 12:30. And he looked at me and he's like, why the fuck do you need to be off by 3? And I was like, you don't understand this, do you, bro? I was like, you think I'm not going to be in that pit? You better fucking get it right.
Yeah.
So my ass, and I knew this, the Bonnaroo poster for Jacket was dropping at 3 p.m.
Go.
So I was like, I have to be out of here by like 2:45 because I have to go wait in line. And I got one of them. Of course, that poster's $600 fucking now, so people could suck my dick.
What do you get, $50?
$40.
Yeah.
Yep. Dude, I can't tell you how many posters I have like that I gave $40 for that are now just like.
And that's the big thing now for posters. So I've gone to so many shows, and the people I go with don't want to get there early, so I miss out on a lot of fucking dope shows.
All those exclusive merch things.
I got this right here. It's a hash print.
Hash print. Yeah.
This ain't even from the show. This is an error one. It's Eric. So I had somebody I knew was able to get me this.
Was able to get it.
So I mean,
that's little things like
2017.
That, exactly. Little things like cool merch like that. And that's I got out. I went and waited in line for the poster, got my poster, and I was like, all right then. Who else is playing? I was like, nobody I really care about that much today. I was like, Tyler Childers was playing, but he's playing on this stage that I'm going to be waiting all day on, so whatever. And I get there, and it's like 3 p.m, and you got a couple kids like lined up for fucking some weird shit. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But there's bands all day on which stage, obviously.
Yeah.
And I get there, and people are like, I was like, all right, is this the pit line? Those people are like, yeah. And I said, let me guess, you guys are all here for Tyler. Because Tyler Childers at like 7 that night. And I knew that was going to be a problem. I knew it. I'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But they looked up at me, and they're like, yeah, the line starts down there. And I was like, that's fine. I'm just seeing if there's anybody here for Jacket yet. And everybody's like, you're here for My Morning? They don't play till like midnight. I said,
Yeah. What's your fucking point?
Yeah.
So I got in line at like 3 p.m, waited in line till fucking midnight.
Why they play that fucking midnight?
They
That's
had
insane.
no crowd control or security control at the pit line. And when I tell you, the crowd went fucking insane for Tyler Childers. Like
real
half the people there at Bonnaroo last summer came to see him.
Wow.
Like half those Saturday kids were. I met hundreds of kids that were literally like, "We're here for this show." Because tickets to his fucking show, even nosebleeds, is like almost the price for a ticket to Bonnaroo. Like shit.
It's insane the popularity of some of these artists these days.
Blow up, man.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep like an organization thing going, and because like nobody could, and it was people were getting violent and like pushing each other. And dude, I jumped up on the fucking barrier and like demanded one of the security guards give me a fucking like
flashlight.
Vocal thing.
Oh, mic.
A
A
megaphone.
megaphone.
Dude, he brought me a megaphone, dude, and they talked about me on fucking Reddit. They're like, shout out to the dude in the pits that saved everybody during the Tyler Childers shit. Because, dude, I got up with a megaphone and was cussing people. I was like, you motherfuckers don't understand lines. I said, you don't all just get to conglomerate right here. And I started screaming to security. I was like, one of your motherfucking managers needs to be working on this because this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Because these kids like started trampling each other, Russ.
Fuck.
And I was like, this is literally how people get hurt and like tragedies happen at fucking music festivals.
We just saw, what was that, 2 years before that, the Astro World.
Exactly.
Yeah?
It was literally, and kids were fucking like trying to run over each other because everybody wanted to see Tyler. My dumb ass is in here in the pit lines because all I care about is the jacket. And I'm like, this is going to get bad. So I do all this shit and I organize this thing, get all these people in. We do it without some shit popping off, and it's all because they give me a megaphone and a fucking vest. So I'm going off and I'm bitching at everybody, and I'm like organizing the pit. And at the end, they finally get all the kids into Tyler, and then they let the second pit line in for Jacket because all the My Morning Jacket people come up to me and they're like, Cody, because the My Morning Jacket community is kind of tight knit. A lot of us all know each other. So everybody comes up to me and they're like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Look at you. And I was like, somebody's got to do it or we're going to have a fucking incident. And sure enough, dude, the band fucking like heard about me doing it.
Oh, shit.
And my buddy Andrew was leaving. He was working for Sophie Tucker, and he's like, yo. He's like, you need to be back here for this. And I was like, I would fucking love to be. That would be nuts. I would fucking lose my mind.
Yeah.
No, Andrew pokes around his head and he's like, hey. He's like, I just talked to their road crew guy. He's like, here.
Holy shit.
And he hands me an artist band. And I look at him, I was like, you're fucking lying to me. And he's like, here. So all the crew members, like the security guys, they're all like, everyone basically like ushers me. They're like, here you go, bro. You get to come back. And I walk backstage at Bonnaroo. And I was like,
you about to cry?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I won't lie to you at all, Russ.
No,
I was like, bro. I was like, I got here. And like, Tyler Childers is ending. So like, I'm walking up through the back, and like, I'm on fucking which stage at Rue, and I'm like up on the back of the stage, and I see Brody. I see two different people I know. And the first thing, Brody looks across and he's like, motherfucker, if you're here, you better help me. So I'm like rolling fucking road cases with these guys, and he looks up and he's like, dude, you're here for Jacket. And I said, and I go to the friends and family section right on the side of the stage, right next to the guitar tech.
Fucking A.
And I get to watch the fucking Bonnaroo 2023 My Morning Jacket set from the side of the stage.
So after Tyler got off the stage, it was obviously another stage was playing, but then Jacket played after that?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So it was Tyler, then we moved all Tyler's shit. I was up there and had friends, and they were just like, look busy. And I was like, all day. So I'm just like rolling gear, taking cases, doing roadie shit that I know how to do. And I'm just loading. And then the fucking Jacket trunk gets like, because they have some shit back there, but then the other semis get backed up.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like rolling out my fucking Heroes
Geeking
gear.
the fuck
I'm
out.
like, oh my fucking God. So I'm up here, and I'm in the friends and family section. They start playing. I'm flipping my fucking door to every song. I'm just like,
yeah.
This chick looks at me, and she's blown away by the way I'm acting. She was like, you really fucking love this band, don't you? And I said, I fucking adore this band. This is my favorite band. At that point, that was, I think, my like 9th or 10th time seeing them.
You and Ian traveled to go see them, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Jacket's the band, dude.
Yeah.
I highly recommend, bro.
Yeah.
But she said, you need to meet them. And I said,
I would die. And she was like, come with me after the set. So I was sat there all night, and I'm wondering who this lady is. It's Tom Blankenship, the bass player's wife.
Oh, shit.
And she goes, come with me. And they get off. They walked on the other end of the stage, and she comes down the other side of the stage with me. We round a corner, and she's like, come on. And I follow her, and they're all standing there. We come down like this little pit, and they're right at the edge of their trailer, and they're all standing there. And she's like, hey, guys, this is Cody. He's the one that did the stuff out in the pits earlier. And they were all like, thanks, man. We heard some bad stuff. And Carl was like, he's like, they really need to get a hold of this. I was like, yeah, dude, some shit's bad's going to happen. And Tom's wife, because she knew, we have a mutual friend. Tom's wife was like, Cody's the guy that does the tribute for you guys in Nashville. And Carl Brommel was like, you're the fucking dude that does the tribute. And I was like, yeah, man. And James like patted me on the shoulder and like walked off. And I was like, that was the jacket. I was like, that was the jacket. After one of the most legendary jacket sets in history. Because they were only supposed to play 2 hours, and they played 3.5.
Fuck.
So they played from 12:30 till like 3:30, or almost 4. It was like 3:45 when they got done.
And you geeked the fuck
I was there
out.
the whole fucking time, baby. But I will say, and I swear to this day now, if I have the choice, I won't do it again. I won't do side stage just because, like...
The sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it just wasn't worth it.
No.
You know that.
Yeah,
But I was
yeah.
like, fuck. I was the chance to get up there, so I was like, well, I got to do it. But then afterwards, I was like, man...
You want to be in the pit.
I wish I was in the pit. I wish I was riding the rail with all my fucking people screaming all those
Screaming
songs.
out, yep, sweat and tears all
That's
over the
it,
place.
man.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing, though. And even up front, too, sometimes. I mean, the sound, too, you know?
Yep.
Especially at big festivals like that, you know? Sometimes
It
you
can
just
be
see...
a shit show.
But, hey... You only get to do it once.
Exactly.
You know?
That's why I was like, oh, fuck it, dude. But the best part was, get done with all this, right? I meet them. I'm like trucking, like barely walking back. I go back to our fucking camper on our little hot dog setup. And Sean, the owner of Daddy's Dogs, is sitting out there all stoned. And I come walking up out of the night. Just like all this shit. And he looks at me and he's like, what happened to you? And I lift my fucking arm up and he sees my artist band. And he looks at me and he's like, motherfucker. I was like, guess who got to see the jacket on the side of the stage? And he's like, I gave you shit about leaving early to see him, and look what you fucking did.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, are you surprised? Just like this year, I met the fucking production manager of the entire festival. Like the entire fucking festival of Bonnaroo. It was so ridiculous, too. He came riding by me at a certain time, and I was like, hey, dude, you want to give me a ride? And he just stopped and looked at me all crazy, and he was like, sure. I jumped on his golf cart and started talking to him. I was like, who are you? He's like, oh, I'm Garrett. I'm the production manager. I was like, the production manager what? He was like, the festival.
Holy shit.
And I looked at him and I was like, holy fuck, dude. I was like, you're one of the big bosses. And he was like, kind of.
So with you, you know, being there, with selling, you know, hot dog, you're backstage. You got back access to the whole place besides the
I have
stage.
staff access.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times at stages, it's crew access, so it's not all staff. But if you know how to talk and know how to, you know, play your cards right, baby.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I get anywhere I want to at Bonnaroo now. Basically.
How many years you been?
This was my 6th Bonnaroo this year.
Yeah. Consecutive?
No. I've been the last 3 years. Last 2.
Yeah.
Last 2 years. And then...
What was your first one?
11 with Ian. 2011.
And who headlined?
Oh, dude. The one that I always think about the most, the Keys headline that year, Black Keys, Saturday night. We watched fucking Primus. We were in the pit for Primus.
And then turn around. How close were you?
Oh, dude, we were like right at the rail. We were in the middle. We were in the middle of the fucking like pit. Not watching pit, but like we were getting tossed around, bro. It was wild.
Fuck yeah.
And then Ian's ass, he was smart because the system of doing the pits changed a little bit afterwards. But Ian's ass stayed in the pit after the show because I was out. I was going to some other set. I think I went to Black Angels. But he was like, I'm going to stay here because Lil Wayne was next.
Oh, shit.
So Ian was in the pit for Lil Wayne.
That's dope.
Dude, that year was just a stacked year. We've seen so many people.
I mean, technically every year is a pretty
You're right.
dope
You're
year.
really
you
right,
know?
though. When people talk shit on Bonnaroo, I'm always like, bro, shut the fuck up. There's something there for everybody. Come on.
You know, yeah. For me, it's not my thing. I couldn't do it personally. I told people there's only one way I would ever do it, and one would be
if you play it.
Well,
obviously.
okay, I would say.
I
Okay,
that's
I wasn't going to say. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, obvious. If you play it, you gotta go.
But there are certain artists that I would want to see that I knew wouldn't play. You know, for instance, I would have went if Prince went. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
And,
fucking
you
A.
know,
That would have been one of the best
you
Bonnaroo
know,
headliners ever, bro. Good God.
And
that would have been so cool.
I would like to have seen. I mean, I still wouldn't have gone. I don't think I would go, but I would have gone if that would have been there. And then, like, I mean, 9 Inch Nails maybe, but I think they have played, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. To be real with you, I missed the biggest year I should have went.
Which was that?
The Paul McCartney, Tom Petty year.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, Ian went that year, and he's like, dude, why didn't you? I was like, because I'm a fucking
How many times did you see Petty? I got to see him once.
3.
I saw him in 95, 96.
Okay.
And all it was, I know you didn't see it that year. You're like 4 or 5. But, I mean, that's all it was. And I didn't care. But it was like him, the band, and a tree. And that was it.
I know that backdrop.
Yeah, that's all it was. And I was high as fuck the whole time, and just it was like you were in a whole other world with that.
Was it dope?
Oh, dude, it was fucking
sick as
great.
fuck.
I had friends that said, "Fuck graduation party, we're going to fucking Petty."
Petty,
Yeah,
baby.
man, it
Hell
was a
yeah. I would
good
have went in
time.
that group too, bro. I'd
It
be
was
like,
a
fuck
great
everything,
time,
go to see
man.
Petty.
Yeah, I am glad I got to see Tom Petty, and I don't care, man. Tom Petty, you can't. I mean, you can't hate the guy. He's
Nope, you can't deny he's too fucking cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of music you like. It doesn't matter. He's fucking Petty.
Yeah, I'm glad. I am glad. You know, there's some artists that I'm glad I was able to see, and there's some that I wish I could have seen that I've never been able to see. You know,
Yeah, Prince is one I wish I really could have seen, because like I never, as I've gotten older, I realized just how much like, dude, what a fucking ridiculously talented motherfucker. Like, good God.
I am happy that I was able to get the opportunity to have seen him twice. And both times, my fucking hairs on my fucking all my body stood up. You know,
yeah, man. God, I imagine so.
I went. The first time I went, me and my girlfriend had gone at the time. You know, and we went saw him at Municipal.
Okay. Ooh, I bet that was tough too. I like Municipal. It's not a terrible room.
No, but it still sounded good.
Right.
He's gonna make it sound whatever. You know,
exactly.
And then of course go outside, and you know, that's when I used to back then. This was probably 2002 maybe. But out in front of Municipal, from bootleggers selling bootleg shirts and shit. And I was like, fuck, I didn't get a shirt. All right, bought it. So I bought one for $10. I still have it. And then I saw him in 2006. You got
it in for the end then.
Yeah.
Tough.
And it was a musicology tour at Bridgestone. And this is the album that went #1 because everybody that entered the building, all the ticket sales were considered an album sale because everybody that walked through the door got a free ticket. Yep. So, and it's in a little sleeve, like a little, like, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it was, that year, was it that one? I can't remember which show it was. George Clinton came out. They did Atomic Dog together.
Fucking tough, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The rumors at that point
I
was,
imagine Prince doing Atomic Dog. Dude.
yeah,
Fuck
with
me.
fucking George, you know?
Yeah, dude, fuck me.
And it was, the rumor was, Bill just got out of George Clinton. No, George Clinton had just got out of jail or something in Nashville. He was there, but he sat on these steps that led you up in the middle of the stage. Came up, sat on the stage, and sang with Prince, "Atomic Dog." It was pretty fucking epic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man.
That's sick as fuck.
I
love when shit like that happens. Like, that's very super jamish, you know.
Well, it's like I went and saw Metallica one year in Nashville, and I can't remember what tour it was, but Lemmy came up, and they, James is like, you might notice there's a stack over here,
Yeah.
And they said, we're gonna bring up a friend of ours, and he's like, Lemmy Kilmeister, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Well, they do 2 songs, of course, Ace of Spades, and I can't remember the other one they did, but that was the footage they were shooting for the documentary that Lemmy came out with, like, you know, that, yeah. And I was like, holy fuck, I was there, you know what I'm saying? But it was cool because I got, like you said, but see, in Nashville,
it's a common
you don't know
thing.
what the fuck's gonna come, who's gonna come out on a show.
That's what
you know.
happened. I mean, once again, Post Malone at fucking Bonnaroo, Billy Strings came out, of course, and I think Morgan Wallen might have came out too. But it's like everybody starts coming out when, like, it's like you said, it's Nashville, it's a music city, so you never know which one of your friends are going to be in town.
Was Bonnaroo like the week after CMA Fest or before CMA Fest?
The week
because
after.
Post was in Nashville the whole time, and he's popping up everywhere.
Well, he's been recording that country record down here. And to be real with you, I've had like 5 or 6 different friends play on it.
Here's my thing is,
People are like, they're in their stories, they're like, look where I'm at. And they're like Blackbird Studio and Post Malone's like over in the corner. I'm like, God damn it, you're playing on the Posty record.
Yeah, I saw Post Malone post some of the Chris Stapleton song he was doing with them. And I don't care what anyone says, man. This guy is about to conquer every fucking genre and be. I mean, that's why he's like, I think like on Spotify, like he's number 3 or 4.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I'm saying?
Close. He's
it's insane.
There. And it's just because he's doing it all.
No. I actually scratched it. It's Weekend, because me and my buddy at work, we always look this shit up.
Yeah.
Because we're curious. It's Weekend, Swift, Post, and then Ed. And I'm just like, Post Malone, though, one thing about him, I met him, well, I don't know if you met him. I think it was I guess you kind of met him. It was 2018. I was sitting at La Casa over here. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace. And my buddy, Tony, was working the Bud Light dive bar tour. And it was Post Malone thing. Yeah. I got something stuck in my throat. And we go, and he couldn't get us in. But we were able to see enough.
Yeah.
But I got video of afterwards out back. This guy is the most nicest fucking guy. Chill as fuck. Shaking everybody's, shakes everybody's hand, dude. Talks to every fucking buddy. And I was just like, wow, this guy is, because he was big, but he wasn't
huge.
Posty now.
He wasn't.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I had friends meet him at Bonnaroo. He shook my friend Jessica's hand because she was on his stage crew, and she went around the entire stage crew and was like, "Thank you so much, thank you so much." I was like, what the fuck, dude?
For as huge as this man is, he is the most nicest, the most humble. Genuine. Yeah,
that's what you want it to. You want it for people like him.
He's just like, I'm just, and you look at him, you don't think he is who he is. And I don't care. Like I said, he's about to conquer every fucking genre of music.
He's already doing it. People fucking love him, man. He's hard. He's a hard motherfucker to hate. He really is. Like, he's a good, down to earth dude.
I just hate when people say, and I can be guilty. I used to say this shit too. But when you start playing music, you start respecting it. You respect the hell of a lot more. For one. But the people that say, "Oh, fuck Post Malone," it's because you're not doing music and you're right. Jealous because he's doing what you want to do and you don't want to do it.
I have heard this about him. I've heard his work ethic is ungodly. People say like it's fucking insane. Like the man wakes up and is like studio. Like he's constantly doing shit.
It's funny because like you look at people like him, people like Ed Sheeran, the most chillest people they're like you and me, and honestly they all are just like you and me,
down to earth.
But then you got artists like The Weeknd who's mysterious. You don't know who the fuck
right.
And then you got Taylor Swift who
has her own era of her.
But then you got these two dudes who are in the same notch as them, totally different people. Yeah, it's crazy.
All walks of life.
Yeah, man. And I just it's crazy, but whatever. Anywho. But what's your next show you're going to?
What is my next big show? I was trying to get tickets to Sarah Landry at the Caves this weekend, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I've really wanted to check that place out.
Dude, I've never been there yet, but everybody I know in the mix just keeps telling me I have to go. Everyone's like, "Do you have to check it out? You have to go. It's so cool."
I think they had like a electronic show there one time.
Well, that's what this show this weekend
is. That what it is?
Sarah Landry show. I seen her at EDC. She was really good, and like she's blown up a lot the last year. She's gotten really big, and she's doing the Cavern show, and it's like a whole weekend thing.
That venue's just insane.
It's fucking cool.
I mean, I've where is that at? Is it in Kentucky or Tennessee?
Pelham, Tennessee. It's like down there by Paducah or some shit. Or Paducah by Pulaski.
Pulaski.
Yeah, it's right in that area, I think.
What's the one in Franklin that they just opened up the venue there?
That's the amphitheater, the new one. That's the big amphitheater that took basically like Starwood's place. It's the new like big outdoor
Nothing will ever take Starwood's place.
Nothing will ever take Starwood's place. But,
as much as I've been to Denver, I've always had a goal to go to Red Rocks. And that's...
Man...
I'm surprised you haven't gone out there to see the Jacket.
They're one of the Red Rocks bands. Dude.
Yeah. I saw footage, and this is. I mean, I saw some footage from the Dead & Co stuff there, and wow, it's pretty intense.
Now I have a reason to go to Denver. So
yeah, you do.
Now I have a reason. So like I'm gonna catch the next. To be real with you, the next Jacket Red Rock show that gets announced. I already have a whole group of friends that like travel around to see him.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll jump on that train.
Yeah.
I'll go see him at Red Rocks, as they call it, as the Red Rocks nickname is the birthing canal.
I could see that.
Yeah, people say it's like,
yeah,
it's the birthing canal. So like, I'm ready to go experience the jacket like that, man.
And to be in that high of an altitude, and
it's a whole thing,
bro. It's weird up there. It's a weird area. Like getting high up there is totally different because you're like it's you get high quick as fuck,
dude.
you know.
Yeah, I
like,
can't wait. I'm ready for all the differences. Let's try it. Let's figure it out.
When I first went there, my buddy was like, "Hey, roll down the windows." So I rolled down the windows, and we're driving through Denver, and then you're passing all the places, and all you smell is this fucking weed. You know what I'm saying? It's like wow. And then you go the dispensaries there are cool as shit. You know, I mean,
I can't wait, man. So I got tickets to a really big EDM show in Denver at the end of this coming month, the end of July. It's called Global. Fisher's playing, and like Wookie, a couple other people are playing. But,
so you are going to Denver then?
I can't decide yet, man. There's a lot of confliction about it. There's a lot of middle of the road confliction. I'm just.
It's only a few weeks away.
I know. I'm trying to prioritize what I'm going to spend all this money on. So that's where I'm really at with it. I got to figure out like what I'm going to do.
Can you? I mean, yeah. I mean, you have reason.
And that's the other big part too. Is I want to be like, well, if this fucking killer show is happening at Red Rocks, like. I gotta come. What the fuck do you mean, duh?
Yeah.
Like,
is that where this is? Is that where this one day ended the month is?
If the EDM was at Red Rocks, bro, it'd be done. I'd be like, oh, I'm coming in a couple weeks, Russell. So I'm going. Fuck it. Like I said, I already have tickets for it, but I should have bought my plane ticket a week ago, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see.
I know every year in August, that rapper Atmosphere, he does a huge show there every fucking year, cool, and I got people that I know people that travel every year to go to it. You know,
dude. To be real with you, we're talking about the caverns.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do if I ever get to the point of prominence. Like, let me have let me have my possum stock every year. But to be real, if anything ever happens for me, everyone knows that I'm just gonna like keep throwing possum stock.
Oh yeah.
Be like, let's get some bigger acts now, motherfuckers.
I mean, and you know. Every year for you, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. More days. And I mean, that we can talk about that for ever. But
honestly, that's probably a good thing for part 2 to be. Yeah. All the possum stuff.
Possum, Torteville.
Scene, all this.
How long has Torteville been?
Since 2010.
Well, so you've been doing that longer than
I've been doing.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes
Well, I stepped into doing Tour de Ville when the coup closed too. That same summer. Because I freaked out to Zach, and I was like, who the fuck's going to do Tour de Ville? And he's like, what do you mean you are? Duh.
But, I mean, now with Possum Stock, too, do they all still help out? Does Zach still help when he can, if he's in town?
Oh, yeah. If they're in town, anybody from the old Reich's always down, yeah.
He's touring with fucking, not like Daddy Yankee or something, but I don't know if it's Daddy Yankee.
And Taco's out with Judas Priest.
What the fuck, dude?
Doing production stuff, man. It's wild.
What's Corey doing? Picking up trash at recycling at festivals or something? Yeah,
I don't even know what he's doing now. It's been a couple of years since I've seen Corey Kyle.
Yeah, I know he was recycling for a while.
He was doing that head stuff really hard. He's working all the fests.
Yeah. I mean, all them fucking people. That's awesome,
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's finding their place in the mix.
But hell,
we're just coming upon we're coming upon another era shift, Russ. I don't know if you feel it like I do, but I'm getting ready to move.
I was about to ask you if you were going to ever leave this town.
I'm pretty soon actually. I'm moving to Nashville, so it's not far.
Yeah,
not really, but like
I think it's I know you won't. You're still going to do your shit here, but I think for you as a individual who wants to progress and do more, I guess Nashville would be better. Because you can be there more, and there's so many more places you can play.
Opportunities, man. That's the biggest thing.
Do you ever see yourself maybe being like, I know you want to do your own thing, but do you ever see yourself just like being like, oh, somebody needs a guitar player tonight? I'll fill in. I can jump in. Like on Broadway, you could always fucking find something.
I have a lot of people that try to like spin that to me all the time.
And I know
have the personality to carry like a showman in Nashville and Broadway. I could be a Broadway guy easy because I could do like a bunch of grunge shit. I can sing a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of wondered, like, where my place in the mix would be if it's not on stage. Like, what is my purpose behind it all? If I'm like, what would I do? And to be honest with you, like, if I can't make it as a performer in some kind of route, I think the other thing, I'm going to be an admin of some kind of, I'm going to run, like, some of these festivals. Like, because every year it gets reaffirmed to me.
I think you can do it.
That I'm more qualified than half the fucking people that already do it. And I'm like, dude, like, this year... They had a production shift in Bonnaroo this year, So there was so much fucked up shit, like everywhere. And there were people freaking out everywhere. And I was just like, I asked, like, because I was talking to a bunch of crew members and shit. And I'm like, what's going on? And people were like, the Chapel Roan thing, dude, was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Because she was at the smallest tent. They had her scheduled at the smallest tent. The bitch just had the biggest fucking crowd at Governor's Ball, bigger than headliners.
Wow.
They're like, you're gonna, and everyone's like on the line. Everyone's like, oh, the same thing happened last year with Noah Khan. And I was like, motherfucker, Noah Khan wishes he had the numbers this girl had. Yeah, fucking right. You go from 500,000 monthly listeners to 38 million in 4 months.
That's insane.
And they hadn't moved her to one of the main stages because they had to.
Is there at Bonnaroo? They don't have anything like local talent type thing, right?
They do.
Do they?
They have a stage that's called the other stage. It
Okay.
was originally there's which stage, there's what stage and which stage. What's the biggest? Which is the second biggest?
Okay.
They're the two
Those
main.
are the main stages.
Then you have there used to be 3 tents, but
Really?
then they dropped one of the tents and made it a stage. So there's 2 tents. There's this tent and that tent. This tent's the smaller. That tent's the bigger. And then they have the other stage.
Okay.
Used to be the other tent, but it's the other stage now. The other stage is all EDM.
Okay.
So it's like fucking production of like LED walls, and it's different than running a band production. It
Yeah,
just
for
is.
sure, for sure.
But next to the 2 big tents, they have one tiny tent now, and it's called the Who stage.
Okay.
And they have some of the bigger regional, like Nashville artists,
Gotcha.
play it, or some people that are like on somebody's little label. It's like the smallest of all the main stages, but it's still a stage. And this year, my friend Dan Spencer out of Cookville, he's on Post Malone's label.
Okay.
Which that whole story is insane.
Yeah.
He just happened to be at a party in Texas, and Post Malone was there.
What's his
And
label?
Dan came up there. I forget what the name of
Yeah,
Posty's
yeah.
label is, but Dan just came up and he's like, "Hey, dude, my name's Dan. I'm from Tennessee. I play country music." And just started talking to him.
Hell
And
yeah.
Post Malone was like, they just hit it off, and he showed him his music, and Posty was like, "Bro, I'm fucking with you. I'm putting you on my label," and he did.
Hell yeah.
And now, like, fucking Dan's band is all a bunch of dudes I've known that play music out of Cookville, and I've known them for fucking years. I've known 10 years, Pat and them. They all played Bonnaroo. I was like, that's what I was talking about. Like, my fucking friends are playing Bonnaroo now, and I'm like, damn, dude, I want to play Bonnaroo. I don't want to just be the venue guy in Clarksville forever. I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
Would you, if they were hiring for that, something for that, would you try to get on?
I
to do
have
it?
an interview with.
Okay.
I have an interview with Insomniac in 2 weeks in Nashville. Insomniac is one of the biggest production companies in live sound. They do Electric Forest, they do EDC, they do a bunch of stuff.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I'm trying really, really hard to get in it because I'm going to be real as fuck with you. If I can get in the production and work it for like a year or two, that's going to make playing it way, way, way fucking easier.
Yep. And also all that work that you're going to learn, that you would learn there, you can put into fucking Possum.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, that's my other side of it. I can come
Yeah.
back and everything I learned from like the
Yeah.
business, I can come back and be like, I'm telling you, dude, everything is culminated to
Yeah,
this year,
man.
Russ. I'm feeling
Yeah,
good.
I'm happy.
All the shit I've worked my ass off for years on seems to finally all be shifting in the right directions.
Well, hopefully people don't think it, and if they do, I know you don't give a shit. But hopefully people don't be like, fuck him for just thinking about himself, But at the end of the day, you've done so much for so many people. It is time for you to focus on Cody
I'm
Parson.
trying to focus on me now.
Yeah.
That's really where I'm at with it, man.
Because I mean, like you said, you've done so much for everybody else, and you're kind of put yourself on hold, even though you were with Whiskey. Now you get to focus on Cody and focus strictly on that. Like you said, you got 8 songs now, and not to mention you got how many more to come out.
Oh yeah,
Are you
We're on
gonna-
the fucking pipeline, baby?
Are you going to do an album or just to do like little small EPs, release singles here and there?
I don't. Okay,
I know the single thing is a hot thing.
that's
these
the
days.
way to do things now. Like from a marketing perspective, that's the way to push it.
Yeah.
And like until I can get any kind of momentum, if I can get some momentum in like next year or two, get a couple bangers, then I'll do a full record because I'll have the momentum to do it. But until I have no plans right now for that until I get more momentum. And so my only thing now, marketing wise, as far as like plans for music, is I'm gonna push the fuck out some singles.
Hell yeah.
I don't know for how long, but I have a bunch to fucking do. So and I'm writing more every day. So.
I mean, you like you said, you have enough. You could put one out every other week for the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to right now is to keep like a waterfall kind of scheduling going. Like every 8 weeks, you're gonna be getting a new single from me. So like pop, 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 pop.
Who's recording you?
I go to Clear and Loud Studios.
Where's that?
Shelby Perkins up in Paducah.
Okay.
He's been around forever, dude. He's been around since like the late 90s. I figured, honestly,
Got a good sound?
I figured you and him might know each other from the mix. He's a drummer, and he's been in a shit ton of punk and metal bands from Paducah. And like I said, he's been around for fucking 25 years. So.
Names for me these days I don't remember, but a face I can remember.
Face,
it's like I don't, people. I'll be out and I hear my name. I'll be like, oh shit, what's this person's name? I don't remember, but they remember my fucking name. I don't get it. But
got a Russ, baby. I remember Daddy Russ.
So, but no, in Nashville, how am I going to say this? First off, real quick, you play what? Would you say you just play rock and roll?
That's what I usually term it as.
Yeah.
When people really want to start getting like fresh with it and being like, "What is it?" And I'll just be like, "It's rock and roll."
Where do you? I mean, I know you played a Cobra. Where else do you play in Nashville? I guess that's how I was getting.
5 spot, the East Room, the OG basement.
The 5 spot.
Yeah, the 5 spot's one of my favorite spots to play. The OG basement. There's a couple really killer DIY spots in Nashville now. Like the Strawberry Basement's really cool.
Which is the one that you gotta email to get, or you gotta message them to get the address. It's like a punk house or something.
Oh, that's down in Murfreesboro. That's that's still Crossroads Punk House. Yeah, it's down there. But then you got places like fucking the Twisted Tea Garden in Nashville. They're like a DIY place ran by the guys in Spirit Ritual. The band's really cool.
So there's a lot
going on.
That's cool,
down there now, man. And that's just it. Just like it's always going to be. And like that's the one thing I've noticed from years, even from. A part of me really wishes I would have just bailed when the coup closed. A part of me wishes I would have left in 14, because to be honest, I would have been doing all the same things I do now. I just been doing it in a bigger city where people cared more.
And you have connection in Nashville now, yeah.
I have a fuck ton now.
Yeah.
So like, and to be honest, it took me a long time to get within the right connections and the right doors, but now most things in Nashville, if I like really push for, I can get. So luckily,
you were doing stuff at the Cobra, yeah?
I'm on that booking team.
So you are? Okay. Well, we talked about whiskey. We talked about Cody and THC. Let's talk real quick about Toxic Patterns. How did that come about, and what made you start that? Now, you said it's just
it's a recording project. Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
Getting really into emo music. Getting into like modern emo music. I fucking love Free Throw out of Nashville. I love Microwave out of Atlanta. They fucking rule.
Microwave's really good. Yeah.
Microwave rules. I also love Hot Mulligan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really good. I just got turned on to them from a kid I work with. I say kid, he's not a kid, but a guy I work with. He turned me on to him because he's into that. He's into a bunch of stuff,
Midwest and stuff.
Yeah. He taught me on it, and then I hear about them often.
Yeah, they're so good. They've really like come to shine the last couple of years too. They've rose up a lot. The big thing though. I don't know. I was in my friend circle. Ian did his solo record a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember that.
Yep.
He did some solo stuff. And
didn't he make a song or something once, and then somebody from it wasn't Coheed, was it?
Fucking Mars Volta. The dude from Mars Volta told him, he's like, I would pay your bills if I could.
Yeah,
I was like, God damn it, Ian. Yeah. That would happen to you.
That was pretty fucking cool.
But Ian, with that idea, Ian was like, I asked Ian, I was like, do you want to play Tour de Ville? And he was like, fuck yeah. And I was like, well, let's get together. I'll play bass for you. Fuck it. Because like,
why not?
9 times out of 10, I'm going to do whatever for my brother anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, I'll play bass. And he's like, I'll ask Spencer to play drums. And that's kind of like the three of us did Ian's solo stuff.
Well, you guys did a Tour de Ville.
Yeah. We did Tour de Ville, and we did a couple other like solo shows.
Because you did Tour de Ville in front of the
Oddly Amazing. Yeah, and fucking Chris threw the smoke bomb and it burned the shit out of my foot.
Was that the first show that Ian did on solo?
I think that was one of the might have been the first Ian Cargill show.
Yeah.
We played Possum and stuff that year too, though.
Yeah,
like we did a bunch of stuff for Ian's solo thing.
Yeah,
but it was me, him, and Spencer. And in the midst of us doing that the whole time, me and Spencer were like literally always just joking about like, we're gonna start this band, we're gonna start this band, we're gonna start a band, do this, we're gonna start a band, play these songs. Because like that's what we fucking all do. Because we're all fucking old men that don't have time to start bands. But me and Spencer always joked about it. And I told Spencer, I was like, bro, I want to start an emo band. All I'm doing is listening to fucking Free Throw. I want to start an emo band. And he was like, let's do it. And then he like joked about it when he was hanging out with Lawton. And he was like, yo, Cody wants to start an emo band. And Lawton's like, fuck him, tell him to come over. And it was like kind of just like a joke. And it was on a Sunday. And Lawton's like, you guys want to come after church? And me and Spencer were like, sure, fuck it. And we got together and we just started like we weren't getting anything together. We played like we got together for like almost a month. We were getting together every Sunday. We're like, we're going to start this emo band. And we would just get together and get drunk.
Yeah.
It would just like, nothing would happen. We would just wind up drinking like a case of Miller Lite and being like,
Well,
yeah, that was a good band practice, guys. And then out of fucking nowhere, dude, like, I don't know why, I don't know how, but we couldn't, like, we couldn't write anything. Like, we were like busting, we weren't getting shit done. We were like, we're just getting drunk. We're never going to start this band. And then I just played Dad. The whole little weird intro. And, like, the moment I played it, Spencer and Lawton were both just like, what was that? And it slowly, like, I kind of got this thing. And we played it a couple times. We're like, all right, there's something. There's a reason to keep doing this. There's the reason. And out the gate, I was like, well, we need another fucking guitar player. I want, like, Twinklies. I need another guitar player. And we started talking about it. We're like, well, should we get somebody? Are we going to push this? Are we going to try? Like, what is this even going to be?
Yeah.
And Lawton had just got a new job. Spencer was already really busy with the pub. I was busy with all the fucking 7 things I'm doing. And then, like, we decided we weren't going to be able to push anything anyway.
Yeah.
Like, we want to make fucking cool music. And I said, when we decided that, it was like, well, if we're not going to, like, take this seriously or whatever, then we should just, like, ask Ian to do it. Because Ian, and like it's already one of us. I mean, like, Ian had the kids and stuff, but we weren't trying to push the tour or anything. We just wanted to do something cool. And I was like, hey, and I asked him, I was like, you want to come fucking play guitar in this emo thing with us? And he's like, yeah, I'll try. And he came over and it's like fucking ripped.
Hell
we were
yeah.
all like, all right, this is whatever the fuck this is now. So that was Toxic Patterns.
Our
first show was how that name come?
Yeah.
Okay, so we joked about the name for forever because we were doing the emo thing, and like I even said that I started making all the jokes about all our shit being like King of the Hill motifed, and then Ian started making all the graphics. So it's like, oh, bro, we're actually like we're going to be an emo King of the Hill band. And I was having like a deep discussion with Danielle Ladd. Do you know Danielle?
Uh-oh.
She's like the little red-haired, like sassy Latin teacher chick that used to be married to Suits.
If I see, maybe you go.
Yeah, she was kind of just like a scene chick that's cool.
Okay.
She's a teacher. She's a Latin teacher. Her and I are really close. She's one of my best friends. She's helped with Tour de Ville for years. She's been one of the main chicks that helps with Tour de Ville. We were having a discussion about her and I talk all the time. So we were talking, and she said something. She's like, "Well, you got to make sure you self-identify your toxic patterns." And when she said it, I was like, Danny, that's my emo band name now.
I mean,
it's like such a, it's not even a foreign like concept. Those words get used together, and that phrase gets used before because like it's like psychological shit. You could, But I was like, dude, this is perfect for a fucking emo band.
Hell yeah!
And I brought it up to the guys that night at practice. I was like, hey, what do you guys think of the name Toxic Patterns? And I said that, and they were all just like, yeah, that's it. That's it. I was like, all right.
Now, you said your first show. Now, I might be
Tour de Ville a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was last summer. Tour de Ville last summer was our
So
first
you
show.
guys have been together for 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
So,
Last summer, sorry.
Yeah, last summer. So, just a little over a year now. Okay. We've released 3 singles, but that's another reason it's like a recording project. We don't have a lot of time to get together often. We're all really busy.
So when you play live, you just play 3 songs 3 times?
No, we have 8 songs.
Oh, gotcha.
We have a whole EP's worth of songs.
But you've only had enough time to record.
Yeah, we have to go record, and we're trying to do the other 5 all together. Like we're going to do it one weekend. We've been talking about it.
Where
we're
you
spend
record
the
it?
whole weekend. Lawton.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Lawton does it all.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy in that regard. We just go spend the weekend with him and get it done.
I mean, you got a nice little lineup there, Lawton.
All the new stuff, honestly, is heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the beginning we were really like pushing for the fucking like Midwest emo, like kind of twinkly, like doing an emo band, maybe like modern baseball or like like American football or something. But now, like after the past year and how things have just slowly kind of developed with a band, everything we play is heavier.
Okay.
It's way more post-hardcore.
Gotcha.
So it's like,
nice.
It's like Title Fight meets like Touche Amore. Like,
okay. Fuck yeah.
It's kind of like
hell
that.
yeah,
like
man. That's pretty dope.
The riffs Ian has been writing the past year, Russ, are fucking nuts. And to be real with you, he's the one that's come in with like most of the riffs.
Fuck
like,
yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's Ian's like, I got this, and we're like, all right, let's build on that. He's killing it, dude. He's a machine.
He's a very talented young man as well. He's it's like. And then you got, Spencer on drums. He's a fucking great drummer. And then Lawton can play damn near everything, huh?
He can.
Yeah.
He can play everything. He can sing like a bird. He can write. It's cool because we've all been friends for fucking 15 years.
Yeah.
We've all been friends like half our
sure.
lives. We've been playing a scene together forever. So really, like I said, sometimes it's hard to get things done because we just all get together and like drink.
I mean, but sometimes you come up with some good ideas when you just jam,
exactly, Exactly. We have a few. We're gonna do the EP soon, so the project's not done. It's just kind of like it's not a mainstay for any of us.
Well, Cody, like we talked about this earlier, I guess this will be part 1.
Part 1, man.
And we'll get together for part 2, maybe a part 3. Who knows?
Yeah. If you've listened this long tonight on Russ's show, I fucking appreciate you. We've talked for a while.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cody Parson, where can everybody find you on the interweb?
If you just Google my name, if you Google Cody Parson, it took me a long time for it to all get up there. Hopefully in another month or two, it'll actually, like when you Google it, it'll all come up as an official artist and everything. Everything will be fixed.
No Linktree / Cody
link.
Parson.
I will say this: if you want to find me on socials, though, L Parson.
Okay.
So it's like the El Diablo, but I'm the preacher. So people, El Parson. So that's I just went with that. A lot of people. You can find me on TikTok and everything like that. So.
Yeah. Where's the best way for people to get hold of you?
Instagram DMs.
Okay, you slide in his DMs.
Yep. I ain't got my number posted nowhere on the interwebs.
That's a good thing.
But
that's a good thing.
Slide in my DMs on Insta because if I want to, I'll filter your ass out.
Real quick. Oh yeah. Let me just get some quick questions. I kind of asked towards the end anyway, and then, what are you currently listening to?
A lot of Chapel Roan.
Okay.
A lot of Chapel Roan. A lot of Joji, the guy that used to be Filthy Frank, pink guy.
Yeah.
Dude, his music's fucking incredible.
All right.
A lot of weird sad boy emo like R&B stuff. I don't know. I went down this rabbit hole too where I've been listening to tons and tons of 90s R&B.
That's the only era.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's the only era, man. You know, SWV, Blackstreet, all that shit.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That's some good shit.
I've been listening to a bunch of like Bone Thugs and shit too. So like, yeah, I've been on that tip lately.
I mean, you just listen to that album,
Right.
East 99.
Oh, the new Suicide Boys record just dropped. I have listened to that. I won't lie. I've listened to that.
That's the second time that Suicide Boys have come up in the last 2 episodes
On the pod, man.
But
I fuck with them. I like them.
I won't get it too far. But I mean, I'm not gonna get it all. But I just haven't. I haven't been able to get into it. It's not my thing, I guess. But
I made the joke about it, and they fucking brought it up. They were on Theo Von's podcast recently, and dude, in the beginning, they said everybody was calling them on it because they're literally just like a modern Bone Thugs and Harmony. That like if you listen to it, like that's what they're trying to do.
Okay.
Russ. That's what they're trying to do. Like even if like that's what they're trying to do.
I have a friend of mine. He lives Suicide Boys. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not hating on them. I get it. I mean, how can you hate a band that is fucking selling out Bridgestone?
Yeah, and dude, and the best part about them is they're like scummy, trashy motherfucker down to earth dudes that came from nothing. So like, that's why I fuck with them really hard.
Didn't both of them die or almost die or something?
They're both off dope and stuff now, but they went through hell, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking Ruby says it in 1,000 Blunts, man. I'm full of self-doubt, but I doubt I'll ever know. What a fucking line, dude. God damn it.
Theo Von be like, yeah, man, we used to huff that shit too, man.
I got some tour dates to tell y'all folks about. Dude, I love Theo Von. I seen him. He's got a place in Nashville.
Yeah. That's where his podcast based out of now.
Eileen lives at the WKDF building. She lives at the Stallman.
That's why when I asked you that, I'm like, I said because
I've seen it.
Yeah,
that's just her apartment.
Is that where he stays?
No, he doesn't. Not that I know of. But I was out.
He stays downtown somewhere.
Yeah, he's downtown somewhere. But I was out one night, and there's like a fucking light right in front of her apartment. And I was like getting shit out of my car and like pulling stuff out. And a Cybertruck pulls up to the light. And I was like, oh God. I was like, this is Cybertruck. And the windows were down. And I seen like the Jaguar, like Viper, Pit Viper fucking glasses. And I was like, Theo! And he's like, what's up, brother?
Yeah.
I was like, tight, dude. I see Theo Von.
That's a
goofy ass Cybertruck in front of my girlfriend's apartment.
Everybody has fucking Cybertrucks these days.
Crazy.
Fucking Yellow Wolf just got a Cybertruck for his new album. It's like all decked out in the color of his album and shit.
Fucking Cybertrucks, bro.
He lives fucking on downtown too, you know.
Yeah, dude. There's way more people way closer to home than you ever think.
Mick Mars lives in Nashville.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty cool, man. Well, we're gonna round this one up and we'll get together soon again.
All the love to you, Russ. I appreciate you, man. Thank
appreciate
you for doing
you,
this.
brother.